Why does that person always appear in your mind? Why do thoughts linger, swirl, and repeat the moment you lie down and close your eyes? Why does your body ache for sleep, but your mind continues its frantic dance? You are not alone in this. It is one of the quiet tragedies of modern life. This inability to rest. Not just the body, but the mind itself. You try to reason with it. You tell yourself to stop thinking. You turn over. You count sheep. But thoughts return sometimes louder. Memories, fears, loose fragments of conversations. It is as though your mind is a house filled with echoes, and no matter how many doors you shut, something still stirs. But tonight, something different happens. Tonight, you are invited to see things differently, not by force, but by attention. Not by effort, but by stillness. Buddhism has long understood this nature of the restless mind, and Zen offers you a path not of escape, but of coming home. You are not being asked to change your thoughts, only to notice them. You are not being told to silence the noise, only to stop becoming it. Let's begin slowly. Inhale softly. Feel the breath not just as air, but as an invitation, an anchor, a beginning. This breath, and now this one. You don't have to fix the mind. You don't have to chase sleep. Just rest in this moment. Let it be enough. Let your mind for once not be the master, but simply another part of the landscape, like wind through trees or water in a stream. Zen teaches that the mind is like a wild horse. It does not respond to beating or to bribes. But if you sit quietly long enough, the horse draws closer. It settles. It begins to trust the stillness. So, sit, stay, listen. You will hear your mind whispering. Yes, it will try to pull you back into stories, plans, regrets. But tonight, instead of following you, simply watch. Like watching clouds drift across a blue sky. You don't try to change their shape. You just let them float. There is no resistance here. You are not in a war against yourself. That's the mistake most people make. They think sleep is a switch. They believe they must defeat the mind to rest. But that only creates more struggle, more noise. What if sleep is not a battle, but a reunion? What if your body already knows how to sleep, how to heal, how to return to stillness? If only you'd step out of its way. So, step back. Feel your limbs soften. Feel your shoulders melt into the bed beneath you. Feel your jaw loosen. Your hands grow heavy. Your chest rise and fall like a gentle tide. Yes, just like that. Now, notice the space between your thoughts. That quiet flicker, that pause. It's small, but it's real. A moment when the mind lets go, even for a breath. This is the doorway. We will return to it often. You are not trying to become something tonight, not trying to learn, improve, or transcend. Those things can wait. Tonight is about returning to the awareness that was always here, beneath the noise. You are not broken. Your mind is not wrong. It is only tired. It wants to be seen. So see it, and then let it go. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a calm lake. The surface is still glassy, but just beneath small ripples appear these are your thoughts. You do not throw stones to stop them. You do not splash or fight. You simply watch. And the lake stills. Zen says, when the mud settles, the water becomes clear. So let the mud settle. No rush. There is nowhere to be. No task left undone that must be solved in the darkness of night. No memory so urgent that it must be visited again right now. Let them come. Let them go. You are the lake, deep, quiet, awake, and yet ready to sleep. This is where our journey begins, not in changing who you are, but in remembering what you've forgotten, that peace is already possible. You are not your thoughts. You never were. They rise like mist over a field in early morning, drifting and dissolving with the wind. And yet for so long, you've believed they were you. That the voice that criticizes replays the past, plans the future, that it defined who you are. But it doesn't. It never did. Thoughts come and go. You remain. You, the watcher. You, the witness. You, the silent space behind the noise. Tonight, you are invited to gently disidentify from that chattering voice. It will still speak. That's what minds do. But now, you will begin to see that its words are not commands, not truths, not reflections of your deepest self. They are clouds, and you are the sky. In Buddhism, this is called non-self anatta. It does not mean you are nothing. It means you are not the fixed identity you imagine. You are not this name, this story, this bundle of memories and emotions. You are not the restless mind that asks, "Why can't I sleep?" You are the space in which the mind moves. You are that which knows the mind is restless. Do you feel it? That subtle shift, that pulling back from the storm. You are no longer inside the thought. You are watching it pass by. When you say, "I can't stop thinking," what is that? I who knows thoughts are happening. That is your deeper nature. Not the mind, but the awareness of the mind. In Zen, this is known as the knowing nature. It doesn't cling. It doesn't judge. It simply sees. It sees that thoughts arise and fade, that stories play and dissolve. And as you rest deeper into this witnessing presence, the mind begins to lose its grip. It slows, not because you forced it, but because you stopped fueling it. You stopped believing every thought deserved your attention. You stopped turning every thought into a truth. Tonight, each time a thought arises, I invite you not to resist it, but to smile gently, like watching a child perform a play you've seen before. There is no need to correct, to shout, to intervene. Just let it play out and let it fade. Thoughts lose power when they are no longer believed. They fade like echoes when you stop answering them. Just observe. Just breathe. And when you forget and become lost in a thought, that's okay too. Simply return. Return to the breath. Return to the awareness that sees. You are learning a new way of being, a softer way, one not built on control, but on allowing, on recognizing that peace was never outside of you. It was never in solving every problem or quieting every thought. Peace was always the one watching, the space in which thoughts rise and fall. And when your mind says this is too hard, just notice that, too. That's a thought. When it says this won't work, that too is just another passing cloud. Nothing more. You don't need to argue. Don't push back. Just return. Let the thought come. Let the thought go. And you remain spacious, present, unshaken, like a mountain unmoved by the winds, like the sky untouched by the clouds. The more you watch, the more you begin to feel it, the distance between you and your thoughts widening. You feel spacious, light, and even the heaviest worry begins to feel like a feather drifting across the surface of your awareness. This is not imagination. This is awakening. You are waking up, not from sleep, but from the dream of identification. You are no longer caught in the net. You are watching the net from the shore. And yet, this is not cold detachment. This is not turning away from life. This is the deepest intimacy with yourself, with your experience with the truth of each moment. You are not escaping. You are seeing clearly, maybe for the first time in a long while. There's a Zen story about a monk who approached his master in distress. "Master," he said, "my thoughts will not stop. I cannot meditate. I cannot rest." The master looked at him kindly and asked, "Can you hear the river beyond the temple?" The monk paused, listened, and said, "Yes." The master smiled. "Return to that. Tonight, I invite you to do the same. Return to that, to your breath, to the awareness that hears, to the space that holds it all. You do not need to force the mind to silence. It may chatter, it may resist, but you just watch, just breathe. Let go of being the thinker. Become the space in which thinking happens. Become the sky that watches the clouds. Become the calm beneath the waves. Each time you remember return, each time you notice smile, you are not failing. You are remembering. That is the practice. That is the path. And soon the thoughts will lose their urgency. The stories will fade like morning mist. And sleep will come not as a prize, but as a return to what was always within you. A return to peace, a return to being. Now, let us come back to the breath, the quiet bridge between body and mind. So often, in the rush of thought, we forget this simple miracle that you are breathing, always breathing, even when you're not aware. Breath is not just air, it is presence. It is the rhythm of your life. It comes and goes, and yet you do not chase it. You do not force it. You allow it. This is the beginning of mindfulness, to return to what is already here, to feel the breath, not as an object to control, but as a teacher. Breathing in, you arrive. Breathing out, you let go, again and again. Nothing more is needed. Right now, I invite you to place your attention lightly on your breath, like a feather resting on a still pond. No pressure, no goal. Just noticing. Let the air enter you like wind through a hollow flute. Let it pass gently, softly, without grasping. Notice the coolness at the tip of your nose, the rising of your chest, the settling of your belly. These sensations are not mundane. They are sacred. Each one is a doorway. The Buddha taught that awareness of breath is one of the foundations of mindfulness, not because it is exotic or mystical, but because it is always present, always here. The breath does not dwell in the past. It does not worry about the future. It is now, only now. And by returning to the breath, you return to now. You will notice the mind wants to leave. It wants to pull you into thought again. That's okay. That's not failure. That's habit. And habits can be softened slowly, kindly, breath by breath. When you notice you've drifted, come back. Not with frustration, with love, as if guiding a child gently back to bed. You say it's all right. Come back to the breath, again and again, until it becomes natural, until it becomes home. Your breath is not just yours. It connects you to all living beings. Every animal, every tree, every person has known this rhythm. Inhale, exhale. It is the pulse of life. And just as waves return to the shore, your awareness can always return to the breath. It is your anchor, your refuge. Tonight, as you lie here, let the breath rock you like a cradle. Let it soothe you like a mother humming to her child. Let it remind you that you are here. You are safe. You are enough. No matter what today held, no matter what tomorrow brings. This breath is peace, and the next is peace again. There is a stillness hiding in each breath, a silence between the inhale and the exhale. Find it. Rest in it. Feel how it opens. Feel how it holds you. It is not empty. It is vast, spacious, awake. And the more you rest into it, the more you realize that the breath is not separate from awareness. It is not something you do. It is something you are. You are the breath. You are the presence in the breath. You are the knowing of it. Can you feel it now? That slight slowing, the mind beginning to soften its grip, the body surrendering to the rhythm of breath. Thoughts drifting like leaves on a quiet stream. This is not sleep yet, but it is the way there. It is the gate, the gentle unwinding of the day's momentum, the returning. Each breath is a teacher. Each breath is a prayer, and you are both the student and the answered prayer. You do not need more than this moment. You do not need more than this breath. That is the gift, the simplicity of it, the grace. Zen teaches us not to chase enlightenment, but to return to the moment with full presence, to drink tea, to walk slowly, to breathe, not because these things are impressive, but because they are real, because they are life. So breathe, my friend, in your own time. No rush. Let your breath be slow, and even slower still. Let your belly rise. Let your chest soften. Let the breath flow all the way down to your toes. Imagine every inhale filling you with calm. Imagine every exhale releasing what no longer serves. Breathe in, peace. Breathe out, release. Again and again, You are safe here. You are allowed to let go. You are allowed to rest. And when thoughts come again, and they will just greet them like visitors, bow to them and let them pass. Return to the breath. Always return. The breath does not judge. The breath does not ask. It only welcomes you home, and slowly, gently, you find that sleep is not something you must reach for. It is something you fall into, like a feather drifting downward, guided by breath, held by stillness. This is the beginning of true rest. Rest not just of the body, but of the mind, of the soul. Keep breathing, love. Just this breath. Just this moment. It is enough. Now imagine your thoughts like leaves drifting along a gentle stream. You are sitting on the bank, feet in the cool earth, surrounded by stillness. The leaves pass by, some bright, some dark, some familiar, some strange. These are your thoughts. Each one floats past, carried by the current. You don't reach out. You don't catch them. You simply observe. This is the art of non-attachment. This is the essence of mindfulness, letting each moment come, letting each moment go. No grasping, no resistance, just being with what is. Sometimes a leaf may carry a memory, something unresolved, something painful. You feel the tug to follow it, to examine it, to climb into the river and chase it downstream. But tonight, we don't follow. We don't dive. We stay seated, grounded, aware. We watch the leaf float further and further away until it disappears into the distance. And with it, a little more tension leaves your body. A little more space opens in your mind. The Buddha taught that suffering arises from clinging to what is pleasant, clinging to what is painful, even clinging to identity, to the illusion of control. But the stream does not cling, it flows, and we are learning to flow with it. Let your thoughts come. Don't push them away. Don't force them to be positive. Just notice and let them pass, as naturally as breath, as effortlessly as dusk turns to night. You are not meant to control the stream. You are meant to sit beside it quietly, watching, feeling the peace that comes from not needing to alter the course. The more you practice this gentle watching, the less power your thoughts hold over you. They become scenery, not destination. They lose their sharpness, their urgency. You may find that even difficult thoughts begin to lose their sting because you are no longer identifying with them. You are no longer the thought. You are the one who sees. This separation is not disconnection. It is clarity. It is freedom. You begin to notice the space between the thoughts, the pauses, the quiet. And in that quiet, something sacred opens. A softness, a peace, a stillness that was always there waiting beneath the surface. So return to the stream now. Return to your seat on the bank. Feel the earth beneath you. Hear the water moving, not rushed, not loud, just steady. Let your body sink deeper into rest. Let your shoulders melt. Let your hands go slack. Let your jaw unclench. All of it flowing downstream. And if you notice your mind trying to label the leaves, that one is fear, that one is shame, that one is joy, that's okay. Gently return. You don't need to name them. You don't need to explain. You only need to notice. Let go of understanding. Let go of fixing. Be the quiet presence behind the flow. In Zen, we are not trying to escape the world. We are trying to see it clearly. Thoughts are not enemies. They are just weather passing through the sky of your awareness. Some days cloudy, some days bright. But the sky is untouched. The sky remains. You are the sky, and so you watch. You breathe, you rest, and slowly the stream carries away what was never yours to hold. It takes with it the pressure, the stories, the need to be different than you are. What's left is space. What's left is calm. You might notice now how your body responds. The rhythm of your heart begins to match the rhythm of the stream. Slow, steady, soft. Your breath becomes part of the flow. Your awareness becomes wide open, like a river delta expanding to meet the sea. You are no longer separate from the stream. You are part of it, flowing, not chasing, witnessing, not gripping. In this state, sleep often arrives naturally, like dusk following the sun, like the stars slowly appearing one by one without fanfare. But whether sleep comes now or later, your body is resting. Your mind is unwinding. Your spirit is remembering how to be. So, let's stay here a little longer. Let's watch a few more leaves pass by. There's no need to rush, no need to finish. Each moment is enough. Each breath is complete. If your mind wanders, that's okay. Gently return to the stream. Return to the feeling of letting go. Remember, the goal is not to stop thinking. The goal is to stop clinging to thoughts. That shift changes everything. That shift is liberation. Let the stream carry you deeper into stillness. Let it carry you home. Now you begin to sense it more clearly, the silent watcher within you. The one who has always been there, quiet, observing, unmoved by the passing scenes of your life. This presence does not speak, but it sees. It does not judge, but it knows. It is not concerned with the stories your mind tells. It does not grasp or reject. It simply witnesses. This is your true self, your deeper nature, beyond personality, beyond thoughts, beyond emotion. In Buddhism, we call it the knowing nature, the clear light of awareness. You may have forgotten it, lost it in the noise, in the endless doing, the becoming, the fixing, but it never left. It was always beneath the surface, like the sun behind clouds. You don't need to create it. You only need to recognize it. And as you lie here still and breathing, the clouds begin to part. Notice what is aware of these words, what is hearing them. Not your ears, but the consciousness behind them. Notice what feels the breath, not your chest, but the presence that knows the chest is rising and falling. That is the watcher. That is the selfless self, and it is never disturbed, even when the body feels tension, even when the mind stirs with thought. The watcher remains like a calm lake that reflects all things but is touched by none. This awareness is not a distant concept. It is here, right now. You can feel it if you stop trying and simply rest. Rest into the knowing. Rest into the awareness that needs no words, that is content simply being. You are not trying to become this watcher. You already are. You're just remembering. You're letting go of the distractions, the labels, the identification. And in their absence, something sacred appears. Spaciousness, light, peace. The kind of peace that cannot be taken from you because it was never given by the world. It was born with you. Can you feel it? That still center, that unmoved witness. Let yourself sink into it. Let your body soften around it. Let your thoughts come and go, and remain with what watches them, not coldly, not with distance, but with deep tenderness, with compassion, like holding a child in your arms, knowing they will cry, knowing they will sleep, and loving them anyway. This is how the watcher sees your mind. It does not push it away. It does not scold or demand silence. It simply observes, gently, steadily, without fear, without urgency. And as you learn to rest here, even for a moment, a new way of living opens. You find you no longer need to react to every thought. You no longer get swept up in every emotion. There is space now. There is choice. A thought arises. I didn't do enough today. And instead of believing it, you watch. You notice. You breathe. And the thought drifts on. It loses its power. You no longer fuel it. You no longer give it your voice. This is freedom. Not the absence of thought, but the absence of identification. You can think without being your thoughts. You can feel without becoming your feelings. You can live in awareness. Even as you drift closer to sleep, this awareness remains. It doesn't sleep. It simply shifts. It becomes quieter, subtler, but it is always present. Like the moon behind clouds, like the stars behind your closed eyes. This is the space you are resting in now. Breathe softly. No need to guide the breath. Let it find its own pace. Let it flow naturally like a river winding through mountains. Let it carry you deeper into presence, deeper into being. You are not your body, but you are here in this body. You are not your mind, but you are here with this mind. And more than anything, you are the space that holds them both. This is the great invitation of Zen. Not to improve yourself, but to remember who you are beneath the noise. To see clearly, to rest fully, to be. So rest now, watcher. Let your body lie heavy. Let your thoughts move like clouds across the open sky. You do not need to hold anything. You do not need to change anything. You are already whole. You are already home. And as the night deepens, let this knowing deepen too. Let it become the soft light that guides you. Let it be your anchor when thoughts pull. Let it be your ground when sleep is distant. It will not fail you, because it is you, the truest you, the silent presence that watches all things and clings to none. There is a weight you carry, though you often pretend it isn't there. You wear it like an invisible garment, stitched with old stories, regret for what you said, shame for what you didn't do, worry that you won't be enough tomorrow. It's heavy, but so familiar, you've learned to walk with it as though it belongs. And tonight, as your body lies still, that weight may come forward asking to be seen, not to punish you, but to be released. This is the gentle work of letting go, not by force, but by awareness. Buddhism does not say you must erase your burdens. It invites you to recognize that you are not required to carry them. Begin by noticing where the weight lives in your body. Maybe in the tightness of your chest, the stiffness of your jaw, the tension between your brows. Just notice. No judgment, no fixing. Bring your breath there. Let each inhale create space. Let each exhale soften. You do not need to understand the burden to lay it down. You only need to stop gripping it so tightly. Imagine now that you are standing at the edge of a quiet forest. In your hands is a heavy pack filled with stones. Each stone is something you've held on to, an old mistake, a hurtful word, an unmet expectation. You've carried it so long, you've forgotten what it feels like to walk freely. But now, under the cool moonlight, you feel the invitation. Gently, you reach into the pack and place the first stone on the ground. No drama, no need to explain. You just let it go, and then another, and another. This is not forgetting. This is not denial. This is release. The stones do not need to come with you into the night. They have taught what they needed to teach. Now they can rest, and so can you. Buddhist teachings remind us that clinging creates suffering, even clinging to guilt, even clinging to the belief that you are not enough. These attachments are not noble. They are not necessary. They are habits formed through fear, through repetition, through misunderstanding. But habits can be unlearned, slowly, kindly, with awareness. So tonight, as you breathe, let yourself unlearn. Let yourself imagine what it feels like to carry nothing, to walk unburdened, to lie here without needing to prove, to plan, to perform. Just a body on a bed, just breath in the dark, just awareness. If tears come, let them come. They are not weakness, they are release. If sadness rises, let it rise. It is not danger. It is truth moving through you, on its way home. And if a memory appears painful or sharp, you do not need to resist it. You only need to soften around it, to greet it, then let it pass. You are allowed to lay it all down now. The expectations, the guilt, the invisible striving. There is no judge here, no performance, no standard to meet. Only presence, only breath, only this moment. And in this moment, you are enough. Repeat that softly to yourself inside the quiet of your heart. I am enough, just as I am. I am enough to rest, enough to let go. Enough to be held by the night. As your breath continues, feel the weight lessening. Your limbs growing heavier, not with burden, but with surrender. Your chest softer, your mind quieter. There is nothing more to carry, nothing more to hold. The past is no longer here. The future has not arrived. This moment, spacious and still, is all that exists. And in this moment, there is nothing wrong. You may feel your awareness widening now like a great open field. No fences, no walls, just space. This is the natural mind when it is not clinging. This is who you are without the baggage. Still, present, awake. Zen teaches that our original nature is like a clear mirror reflecting all things without holding on to any of them. You are returning to that clarity now, not by becoming something new, but by remembering what was always true. The mirror does not carry the images it reflects. The sky does not keep the clouds that pass through it, and you do not need to carry what you've carried. Let it all return to the stream. Let it be carried by the wind. Let it fall into the silence of the night. Letting go is not losing. It is not weakness. It is not failure. It is the quiet art of returning. Returning to what matters. Returning to what is real. The mind often equates letting go with giving up, as if surrender means defeat. But in Zen, surrender is a kind of wisdom. It is seeing clearly that clinging does not bring peace. It is realizing that the tighter you hold, the more pain you feel. Like gripping a rope that burns your palms, sometimes the most courageous act is to release. Tonight, as your body rests and your breath flows, notice where you are holding on, not just in your muscles, but in your thoughts. What stories repeat themselves? What loops won't close? What fears keep tugging at your awareness? Gently, without judgment, bring them into view. Hold them like you would a fragile bird. And then, when you're ready, open your hand. Let them fly. You do not have to chase them. You do not have to cage them. You are allowed to release. Imagine standing beneath a tree in autumn. The wind moves gently through its branches, and the leaves begin to fall. The tree does not mourn them. It does not try to hold them in place. It trusts the season. It trusts the cycle. So too must we learn to let go when the time has come, not out of apathy, but out of deep reverence for what change offers. When we release, we create space. Space for rest, space for healing, space for something new to grow. The Buddha spoke of the middle way, a path not of extremes, not of indulgence or denial, but of balance. And balance requires us to let go when we are too full, when we are heavy with what no longer nourishes us. Not everything we carry needs to come with us into sleep. Not every thought deserves our midnight attention. So feel now what it's like to loosen your grip, to breathe without armor, to exist without clinging. The world will not fall apart if you let go for this moment. The future will wait. The past has already gone. And you, your body, your heart, your breath deserve this release. Letting go is not an act of pushing things away. It is an act of allowing things to be as they are. It is stepping back from the story that says you must fix, control, or solve. It is choosing to rest in presence rather than in problem. Feel how much softer your body becomes when you stop resisting. The shoulders drop. The jaw relaxes. The belly opens. This is the body in trust. This is the nervous system in peace. And peace does not come when we win the war with our thoughts. It comes when we realize there was never a war to begin with. Only waves, only wind, only the passing of moments we mistook for truths. You are not being asked to let go forever. only for now, only for this breath, this hour, this night. And if the mind returns with urgency, but what about tomorrow? What if I forget? What if I need this thought? Later you can smile. Because that too is just another leaf in the stream, another cloud in the sky, or another story rising and falling in awareness. You are learning to meet each moment without grasping, to let your thoughts arrive and let them go, to feel your emotions and let them pass, to be present and let that be enough. Letting go is not losing. It is loving yourself enough to stop carrying what was never yours. It is opening your hands to the night sky and trusting that peace is found not through possession, but through presence. So breathe again, slowly, gently. Let go again of what you thought you needed, of what you were trying to solve, of who you believed you had to be. Now, you are drifting beneath the waves, descending into a quiet that does not end. On the surface, thoughts may still ripple. Small concerns, flickers of memory, the habitual movement of a mind used to motion. But deeper than that, there is silence. The ocean of your awareness is vast, and most of it lies untouched by the storms above. You are sinking now into that still place where there is no noise, no rush, no need, just depth. The waves cannot reach you here. They exist, yes, but they are distant, faint echoes. You are no longer tossed by their rhythm. You are no longer pulled by their tide. You are the ocean floor, still dark, infinite. In Zen, we do not try to stop the waves. We simply learn not to ride them. We sit, we sink, we settle. As you lie here, let your breath carry you downward. Each inhale, drawing you deeper into yourself. Each exhale, releasing the surface world. There is nothing to do here. You are not solving. You are not seeking. You are being. That is enough. And in this depth, something beautiful begins to unfold. A clarity, not of intellect, but of presence. You begin to sense the truth of impermanence, not as a thought, but as a lived experience. The way each breath comes and goes, the way each sound rises and fades, the way each feeling passes through like moonlight on water. Nothing holds, nothing lasts, and yet there is peace in that, because if nothing lasts, then nothing needs to be held so tightly. If everything changes, then even pain will pass, even fear, even sorrow. This is not loss. This is liberation. The ocean beneath the waves does not grieve the storms. It does not resist the surface. It simply is. And so too can you be untouched, untroubled, grounded in your own depth. You do not need to analyze what you feel. You do not need to label this experience. Just rest in it. Let your mind rest in your body. Let your body rest on the earth. Let the earth hold you. There is wisdom in this stillness, but it cannot be taught. It must be remembered. And you are remembering now, with each breath, with each moment of silence between thoughts. You are remembering that peace does not come from answers. It comes from presence. It comes from not needing answers at all. Zen masters have long taught that the mind is like water. When agitated, it is difficult to see, but when allowed to settle, the truth becomes clear. Let your mind settle now. Let the thoughts swirl and fall. Let them drift like sediment to the bottom of your awareness. Do not rush the process. The ocean does not rush. You may feel a subtle spaciousness emerging now, a sense of being wide, expansive, free. There is nothing closing in on you. There is no urgency. Time itself begins to dissolve. You are not counting minutes. You are not measuring stillness. You are simply here, now. This breath, this body, this vast awareness beneath the waves. Let it hold you. Let it cleanse you. Let it remind you that you are not broken. You are not scattered. You are whole, even in your quietest moments. Especially in your quietest moments. The world will return in the morning. The tasks, the voices, the movement. But for now, you are beneath it all. You are home in your own depth. You are resting where the storms cannot reach. So breathe and float and allow yourself to be carried. The ocean knows the way. You do not need to steer. You only need to trust. Let yourself be weightless. Let yourself dissolve into the deep, where stillness is all things, where peace is not earned but remembered. And as you drift here, you may begin to forget what troubled you. Not because it was solved, but because it no longer matters. What matters now is this space, this calm, this truth that you are enough as you are in this breath and this silence. Impermanence is a kind teacher. It whispers what we most resist hearing, that everything changes, that nothing stays, that all things rise and fall in their time. And yet this is not a cruel truth. It is not a punishment. It is a doorway to freedom. Because if all things pass, then pain is not forever. Anxiety is not forever. Sleeplessness is not forever. Even this moment, however tender or heavy, will not last. And that is the balm. That is the comfort. You are lying here now, and your thoughts may still stir. Perhaps a lingering regret surfaces. Perhaps a fear about tomorrow. Perhaps an emotion you cannot name. But none of them can stay. None of them can live forever in the same form. They are like footprints in the sand just before the tide. No matter how deep they were, the sea comes and makes them new again. Each breath you take is a wave of that tide. Inhale and allow it to rise. Exhale and allow it to carry away what no longer needs to remain. In this rhythm, you begin to understand, not with the mind that needs to dissect and name, but with the heart that simply feels. You begin to feel that everything is in motion. Even your tightness, even your worry, even your mind. Everything moves, everything flows. And in this flow, there is safety. In this change, there is healing. When you stop holding on to what must go, your hands are free to receive what may come. And maybe what comes next is not an answer. Maybe it's just peace. Gentle, quiet, unremarkable in the best way. Like the silence after a long rain. Like the warmth of sun on closed eyes. Impermanence does not demand that you be fearless. It only asks that you be honest, that you see things as they are not as you wish they would stay. It asks you to witness, to open, and to let go. It is not the enemy. It is the guide. Zen monks sweep fallen leaves, not to rid the path, but to greet the cycle. They know more leaves will fall. They know the act is not to control, but to connect. And tonight, as you breathe, you too are sweeping. Each exhale is a soft brush across the stone of your mind, making space, making room, not for something new to come, but for you to finally rest in what is already here. A spaciousness you forgot you had, a presence that was never lost. And in this space, you notice something even deeper, that what truly matters is not threatened by impermanence. Love is not less because it fades. Stillness is not broken because it is brief. Even the peace you feel now, however fleeting, is real. It touches you, it holds you, and it reminds you that you don't need forever to find meaning. You only need now, this moment where you are not running, not performing, not becoming, just being. This is where freedom lives. This is where you begin to trust again. And when the thought comes, what if it disappears? You smile because you know it will. And that's okay. It came. It stayed. It softened something in you. And then it left. Like all things, you do not need to grip it to be changed by it. You only need to feel it while it's here, and then breathe and let go, because that's what everything does. That's what the stars do, quietly dissolving into morning. That's what the trees do, releasing leaves into the wind. That's what the body does, sighing into sleep. Let it come. Let it go. Let yourself follow the rhythm of nature, of breath, of life, of impermanence. Because within the letting go, you are not lost. You are found. You are not less. You are finally free. Let that freedom hold you now. Let that softness surround you. Let that kindness fill the space where tension once lived. There is nothing more to keep, nothing more to chase. This moment is whole. This moment is enough. Let yourself rest in it fully. Let yourself sleep. The present is already safe. It is not the past that holds you now, not the future that threatens your peace, but your own mind's habit of leaving this moment, of running ahead to what might be, or falling back into what is already past. But look closer. Right now, in this very breath, there is no danger, no judgment, no unfinished task chasing you. There is only you, lying still, breathing gently, wrapped in the hush of night. This moment holds no harm. It asks nothing of you. It requires no performance. And yet, it offers everything. The truth is, the mind struggles to stay here because it is not used to stillness. It is trained to anticipate, to prepare, to solve what hasn't yet happened, or to fix what has already gone. But the body doesn't live in tomorrow or yesterday. It lives now. Your heartbeat is not in the past. Your breath is not in the future. Every rhythm of your body is happening only now. And when you bring your attention to this, even just a little, the mind begins to settle. it begins to see that it doesn't need to work so hard. There is no lion at the door. There is no storm overhead. There is only the softness of sheets, the rhythm of your inhale and exhale, the gentle weight of your body, supported by the earth beneath you. And this moment, this simple now, is safe. Let yourself feel it. Not just understand it, but feel it. Feel the way your muscles relax when you stop reaching forward. Feel the way your chest loosens when you stop pulling back. You are not running anymore. You are here. This is the medicine of mindfulness, not some grand transformation, but a returning to what is already peaceful. It does not require you to change your life in this moment. It only asks you to live in it. The Buddha did not teach that we must escape the world to find peace, but that peace is possible right where we are if we stop grasping and simply return. And where we return to is always this moment, again and again and again. And each time you return, the mind loosens. The noise softens. The stories fade. You begin to trust what is actually happening over what might happen. You begin to feel the difference between the anxiety of imagined futures and the calm of simply being. And even if the mind continues to offer its thoughts, what about this, and what if that, you don't have to follow. You can hear those voices and still remain. You can let them drift through without becoming them. Just like listening to a passing train from the comfort of your own home, you are not boarding. You are not going anywhere. You are staying with what is. You are staying with the truth that this moment does not require your fear. It does not demand your worry. It only invites your presence. And your presence is enough. Each time you breathe and notice the breath, you are reinforcing this safety. Each time you allow your awareness to rest in your body, in the hands, the feet, the chest, you are grounding yourself in what is real. Not the idea of life, but life itself. Not the idea of peace, but peace itself. And in that peace, sleep comes not as an escape, but as a natural unfolding. The body begins to release. The mind begins to fade. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped resisting. Because you remembered that what you longed for was already here. It is not in the next thought. It is not in the solving. It is in the stillness that is always quietly available. Let yourself rest in that stillness now. Let yourself feel the safety of this breath, the completeness of this inhale, the ease of this exhale. You don't need more. You don't need less. You are not missing anything. Right here, right now, you are whole. You are safe. You are home. And you are free to let go. Every storm passes, even the ones that rage without warning, that flood your thoughts in the silence of the night, that leave your body tight and your heart uneasy. Even those storms pass. That is the nature of all things. The Buddha taught that all conditioned things are impermanent. Feelings, moods, thoughts, circumstances, they rise, they peak, they fade. Nothing lasts forever. This isn't a poetic phrase. It's a law of nature, a truth so deep that once you truly feel it, something within you unclenches. The mind might tell you that the storm in your chest is endless, but it only seems endless when you are inside it, when you mistake the swirl of thought and emotion for the whole sky. But you are not the storm. You are the sky, wide, unbounded, untouched. The storm moves through you, but it is not you. And when you realize this, even just a little, you stop resisting. You begin to watch instead of react. You begin to breathe instead of tighten. You begin to soften into awareness, into the deep, still place beneath all movement. As you lie here, feel the residual winds in your body, the tension in the shoulders, the shallow breath, the flicker of thought behind your eyes. These are traces of the storm, but they are not solid. They are not forever. You can feel them without fearing them. You can breathe through them. You are safe to feel. There is no shame in weather. The sky does not apologize for rain. It does not fear thunder. It simply opens and holds all of it. That's what you're doing now. Becoming the open space that allows everything to move through. Without resistance, without attachment. Let the storm move. Let it whisper its old fears, its tired warnings. You do not have to believe them. You do not have to argue. Just be the presence that hears, the witness that sees, the breath that continues. You have been through storms before. You have survived long nights, heavy mornings, and aching uncertainties. And still, you are here. Still, you are breathing. That means something. That means you are stronger than you thought. That means the storm does not define you. It visits, it teaches, it leaves, and in its place comes silence. Feel that silence now. Not the absence of thought, but the presence of peace. Not a blank mind, but a quiet heart. This silence isn't forced. It's not something you achieve. It's something you uncover when you stop chasing and simply rest. It was always there underneath the noise, like the stillness at the bottom of the sea, untouched by surface winds, like the calm beneath your thoughts. That calm is you. That awareness is your true home. Let the breath guide you deeper into it. Inhale gently without effort. Exhale even softer, like a sigh through the leaves. Each breath a reminder you don't have to fight. You don't have to fix. You don't have to carry the storm beyond this moment. The world will be there tomorrow. But tonight is not for solving. Tonight is for resting, for healing, for remembering. And maybe the storm has left pieces behind: regret, confusion, fatigue. That's all right too. You don't need to clean everything tonight. You don't need to tidy the mind like a spotless room. Just notice what's here. Notice what lingers, and breathe with it. You are not pushing it away. You are allowing it to exist without taking over. This is the power of mindfulness, the art of staying with what is without becoming it. Zen teaches us to sit with the rain, to listen to the thunder without covering our ears. Not because we enjoy the discomfort, but because we trust that all things move, that all things end. There is wisdom in the waiting. There is compassion in the stillness. There is healing in knowing that you are not your storm. And there is deep, unshakable peace in watching it pass. So rest now. Rest like the earth after rain. Rest like the sky when the clouds begin to thin. Rest not because everything is solved, but because nothing needs to be solved to be at peace. You have done enough. You have felt enough. You are enough. Let your body grow heavier. Let the breath become slower. Let your thoughts become like distant thunder, noticed but no longer pulling you. Each inhale a return. Each exhale a release. You are not broken. You are becoming clear. The storm was never here to stay. It was only ever passing through. And now you are free to let it go. The soft power of non-resistance begins where struggle ends, not because the struggle was won, but because you finally put down the sword. Resistance is tiring. You know this. You've felt the weight of constantly pushing against your own thoughts, your emotions, your reality. You've felt how much energy it takes to hold your breath against the truth, to stiffen your body against the ache of uncertainty. And yet the moment you stop resisting, just for a breath, just for a moment, something shifts. A crack opens. A space forms. And through that space flows something you didn't expect: peace, not forced or earned, but arising naturally from the absence of force. There is a gentle power that lives inside. Surrender, the kind that doesn't ask you to give up, but asks you to stop clinging. It invites you to release your grip, not because the world is perfect, but because gripping is exhausting, and there is another way. You can feel it now as you lie here, your body no longer holding itself together out of habit, your breath no longer shallow from defense. You are relaxing, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And in that relaxation, a doorway opens. You are stepping into a way of being that does not rely on pushing back. It simply welcomes what is. Zen does not demand perfection. It simply asks for presence, and presence begins when resistance ends. What are you resisting tonight? Is it a thought that keeps returning? A feeling you believe you shouldn't have? A story you think should no longer affect you? Gently, kindly ask yourself what you're trying to push away. And now imagine what would happen if just for this breath you let it be. Not forever. Not as a solution. Just for this breath, you stop tightening against it. You let it arise. You watch. You breathe. And you soften around it like water softens around stone. The stone is still there, but it no longer cuts. The water still flows. That is the soft power of non-resistance. It doesn't make the feeling disappear. It makes it bearable. It gives it space to breathe, to move, to eventually dissolve. Your pain does not grow larger when you stop fighting it. In fact, it often becomes more manageable, because so much of the suffering wasn't the pain itself, it was the war against it. The thought saying it shouldn't be here, the judgment that you should be over it by now, the pressure to fix what simply needed time to pass. You can let all of that go now. You can let yourself off the hook. The truth is, you don't have to resist sadness. You don't have to resist tiredness. You don't even have to resist your own overthinking. They are not signs that something is wrong. They are part of the human experience passing weather in the vast sky of your awareness. And the more you accept them, the less they control you, the less they scare you. Feel your body. Now how it responds when you say silently to yourself, I allow this. Try it. Not as a command, but as a whisper. I allow this breath. I allow this thought. I allow this feeling. And notice the difference. It's subtle, but powerful. Your chest opens just a little. Your stomach releases its grip. Your heart stops bracing for impact. This is not weakness. This is strength rooted in wisdom. This is the strength that comes from no longer wasting energy on war. Let the breath show you how. It does not resist. It flows in when needed. It flows out when its purpose is complete. It does not cling to the inhale. It does not fear the exhale. It simply moves. Trust that rhythm. Align with it. Be like the breath. Let yourself be breathed. Let yourself be held. When we resist, we hold tension in the muscles, in the jaw, in the chest. But when we allow, the tension begins to melt. Not all at once, not like a switch, but gradually, gently, like ice softening in the sun. This is what you are doing now. You are melting the resistance that has lived inside you for years, maybe decades. You are inviting your body to feel safe. You are inviting your mind to rest. And rest is only possible when there is nothing left to fight. Non-resistance does not mean you approve of everything. It means you recognize that peace begins with allowing what is here to be here. It means you no longer demand that the moment be different before you can rest. You allow this moment to be your home, even if it's messy, even if it's uncomfortable, because it is what you have. And when you stop fighting it, it becomes softer. It begins to change, not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped interfering. Imagine now that you are lying in a river, eyes closed, arms open. The current is gentle. It carries you without effort. You don't need to swim. You don't need to grab the banks. You trust. You float. The water holds you. This is what you are learning to do with life. To float not because there is no direction, but because you trust the direction you are going. You trust that you do not need to control every detail. You trust that your breath is wiser than your thoughts. You trust that life knows how to unfold without constant resistance. So let go now. Let your body be soft. Let your thoughts come and go. Let your emotions rise and fall. Do not push them. Do not pull them. Just stay. Just breathe. Just be. And when the mind forgets, and it will, you simply return. You whisper again, I allow this. And you begin again. This is the path. This is the practice. And this is where peace begins, not at the end of struggle, but at the first moment you choose to no longer struggle at. You can begin again now. No matter how many times the mind has wandered, no matter how many nights were restless, no matter how many thoughts pulled you away from peace, this breath is always the invitation to return. You are not measured by how often you get lost, only by how gently you come back. Beginning again is not failure. It is the practice. It is the essence of mindfulness, the quiet courage of returning. And you can do it now, in this very moment, without waiting for permission, without needing conditions to be perfect. You don't need to have figured everything out. You don't need to silence every thought. You only need to feel this breath, and allow yourself to start again, fresh like the morning, soft as soft like the first light of day. Begin again, not by force, but by remembering that peace does not live in the past. It is not hidden in the future. It is waiting patiently in the now. The mind will try to tell you stories, that it's too late, that you should be further along, that you've made too many mistakes, that you've fallen too many times. But those are just echoes of old habits, not truths. They are old recordings, not your present voice. You are not your history. You are not your habits. You are not your self-judgment. You are this awareness right here, witnessing the thought feeling, the breath opening slowly like a flower after a long rain. And in this opening, you find that nothing was ever lost. It was only covered, buried under expectations, noise pressure. But now you are uncovering it. Now you are beginning again. This beginning is not dramatic. It is not loud. It is quiet, like mist rolling over hills. It is gentle, like the tide returning to shore. You do not need to announce it. You only need to allow it. Each breath you take is a new beginning. Each exhale, a release of the old, and when you forget again, and you simply come back, again and again, with compassion, with patience, with a smile in your heart. The Buddha said that we start over as many times as it takes. There is no shame in returning. The only suffering is in believing we cannot. Imagine now that you are walking a path through a forest. The trail disappears at times, covered by leaves, blurred by fog. You may stray. You may get turned around. But each step you take with awareness is a return to the path. Each breath is a footprint in the right direction. You do not need to see the whole way. You only need to keep walking, keep breathing, keep noticing. The journey is not linear. It spirals, it circles, it pauses, and still you begin again. In the quiet of this night, let go of the idea that you have to catch up to something. There is no behind. There is no ahead. There is only now, and now is always enough. You do not have to wait for morning to feel the light. It lives in your breath. It lives in your body as it softens. It lives in your willingness to stay present even just for one inhale, one exhale. You are not lost. You are returning. And every return is a sacred homecoming. There is something deeply healing in this practice of beginning again. It teaches you that you are not bound by your last thought, that you are not trapped by yesterday's choices, that even the mind's momentum cannot prevent a moment of stillness if you choose to stop and notice. You can start over 1,000 times in one sitting, and every return is a victory. Not the kind of victory the world applauds, but the quiet kind, the kind that lives in your breath and blooms in your heart without needing an audience. Feel now the power of this return. Not because everything has changed, but because you've changed your relationship to it. You've stopped fighting. You've stopped judging. You've simply begun again, and in doing so, you've stepped into peace. The world outside may still turn. The thoughts may still whisper, but you are no longer tangled in them. You are here. You are breathing. You are beginning again. Let the breath guide you gently, like a stream guiding a leaf. You don't have to steer. You don't have to force. Just allow yourself to be carried. Inhale and arrive. Exhale and release. Inhale and come home. Exhale and rest. Each cycle of breath is a new chance. Each pause between breaths is a doorway. There is no rush. There is only the rhythm. And the rhythm is always inviting you back. And when thoughts arise, and they will notice them, smile at them and return. When tension creeps into the body, feel it soften around it and return. When doubt whispers that you're doing it wrong, acknowledge it, release it, and return. There is nothing so broken that it cannot be met with breath. There is no moment so lost that it cannot be reclaimed with presence. This is the essence of practice. Not mastery, not perfection, but returning. Always returning. Each time you return, you deepen your roots in the present. Each time you return, you build trust in your own resilience. Each time you return, the mind loosens its grip and the heart opens just a little more. So let this be your practice tonight. Not to fix, not to silence, but to return. With every breath, return. With every thought, return. With every hesitation, return. You can begin again now, and now, and now. There is no end to the beginning. Only the gentle rhythm of breathing and coming home to yourself. Let your body receive this truth. Let your heart exhale in relief. Let your breath carry you through the night. You are not late. You are not wrong. You are simply human, and that is enough. The path is not behind you. It is under your feet. Right now, begin again and feel the ground welcome you back. The empty cup that can be filled is the mind that no longer insists it knows, no longer clings to being right, no longer guards its beliefs as armor. It is the mind that becomes curious again, soft again, open again. In Zen, this is called beginner's mind. Not because you are naive, but because you are wise enough to unlearn. Tonight, as you rest, you are invited to become that empty cup. You are invited to lay down what you think you know about your own mind, your own patterns, your own history. All the stories you've carried about who you are, what you deserve, what you must do have shaped your world. But what if for this moment you could let them go? What if your story is not fixed? What if you are not trapped by your past thoughts or decisions? What if you could be new, simply by being open? There is a kind of quiet bravery in admitting that we don't have to hold on to what no longer serves us. We are not trees rooted in the same shape forever. We are water. We are sky. We are allowed to change, to release, to evolve. But nothing new can enter a mind that is already full. Nothing gentle can grow in soil that is too hard. So tonight, you soften. You begin to pour out the old tea, the assumptions, the habits, the inherited fears, not because they were wrong, but because they are heavy and you are tired and your heart is ready for something lighter. Picture your mind now as a cup you've carried for years. It has been filled and refilled with expectations, judgments, comparisons, self-doubt. Some of it was poured in by others. Some of it you poured yourself without knowing. The cup is full. It spills at the edges when life shakes. It leaves little room for peace. little room for quiet joy. But now gently, without rush, you begin to empty it. One breath at a time, one thought at a time, you pour out the voice that says you are not doing enough. You pour out the need to prove yourself. You pour out the fear of being seen, the fear of being unseen. All of it out. No need to explain. No need to justify. You are simply making space. And in that space, something tender begins to rise. A softness that isn't trying to be better, but simply is. A stillness that was always waiting just beneath the noise. You do not need to fill this space immediately. You can let it be open wide quiet. You can let it hold you instead of you holding everything. Beginner's mind is not empty because it lacks. It is empty so that it can receive. It sees the world not through filters and past wounds, but as it is fresh, alive, immediate. As you lie here, now feel what it's like to release what you thought had to be true. The stories you've told yourself about sleep, about rest, about whether you deserve it. The beliefs you hold about how much you should achieve before you can feel peace. Let them fall away like dust from an old shelf. Let the space beneath them breathe. You are not the sum of your ideas. You are not limited by your understanding of who you were yesterday. In this moment, you can be anything. In this moment, you can be nothing and find freedom in that. You can be the empty cup, still warm from the last pour, open to what comes next. Zen masters teach through paradox. They speak in riddles, not to confuse, but to liberate you from the trap of thinking your way through life. Because the truth cannot always be spoken. It must be felt. It must arise in the silence between thoughts. It must be invited, not forced. And the invitation is your openness. The willingness to not know. The courage to stop filling the space with assumptions. The patience to sit with not yet having the answer. This is not about forgetting what you've learned. It's about holding your knowledge lightly, knowing that truth often moves, deepens, changes shape. Just like you. Just like your breath. Just like this night. Each inhale is new. Each exhale is release. No breath repeats itself. No moment returns. That is the beauty of beginner's mind. Every moment is the first. Every moment is the only. As you rest here, feel your body becoming light again. The mind no longer crowded with old rules. The heart no longer pressed between expectations. There is room now for curiosity, for wonder, for peace to arise, not because you chased it, but because you made space for it, because you stopped filling the silence with noise, because you stopped filling the cup with what you already knew. You are not here to be certain. You are here to be present. You are not here to solve yourself. You are here to meet yourself. You are not here to explain the mystery. You are here to live it, so breathe. And let your breath be the only answer you need for now. Let your breath be the only teacher. Let your breath be the warm tea that fills the empty cup, one slow drop at a time. And when the mind returns with questions, with memories, with stories, you simply bow to it and begin again. You return to the breath. You return to the openness. You return to the beginner who does not rush to know, but waits and watches and listens. This is how you rest. This is how you heal. This is how you remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Stillness is already inside you. It does not need to be created. It does not need to be summoned from some distant mountain or secret teaching. It is already here, breathing beneath every thought, beneath every emotion, beneath every moment. When you pause and feel your own presence, you are not separate from stillness. It is not an external gift to be earned after years of struggle. It is your nature. It lives beneath the noise. It waits behind the eyes, underneath the pace of your heartbeat, beneath the weight of your name, your story, your plans. All you must do is stop, not by turning away or shutting yourself down, but by doing less, by releasing the grip of doing and allowing yourself to drop back into what holds you without asking. You do not need to run toward peace. You need only stop running away from yourself. Even now, as you lie here, you may feel the familiar pull of the mind, the thoughts that want to narrate this moment, that want to explain or critique or predict, but you are under no obligation to follow them. You can let them pass like wind across a field of tall grass, felt but not clung to. You can feel their presence and still choose to stay with your breath, with the weight of your limbs, with the still rhythm of your being. The surface of the mind may flutter, but the depth is always quiet, always undisturbed, like a pond stirred by wind but clear beneath the surface. And that clarity is not found through more thought, but through less resistance. Stillness is not the absence of life. It is life, felt fully, without judgment, without interference. When you stop resisting what is so, when you stop trying to manage every detail of your moment, you fall back into the arms of now. And now is never noisy. Now is never anxious. Now is simply what is here, and it holds no story, no pressure, no time. Only awareness, only breath, only being. Let your body soften into that stillness. Let your jaw unclench, your shoulders sink, your belly rise without tension. Let yourself be breathed. Let the breath move as it wishes without your control. Notice how it continues with or without your attention. Notice how your heart beats without your command, how your body knows how to rest, how to heal, how to slow down without permission from your thinking mind. That intelligence is part of the stillness too. It's not just a feeling of quiet. It is a deep knowing that everything is already unfolding as it should, and that you are allowed to stop striving, even for just this moment, even just for tonight. Zen speaks often of non-doing, of wu-wei, of the power of allowing. You don't need to manufacture wisdom. You don't need to grasp at enlightenment. You don't even need to silence your thoughts. You only need to watch. And in watching without judgment, a gentle shift happens. Like snow settling after a storm. Like sand finding the bottom after the waves recede. Everything inside you begins to settle. Not because you made it happen, but because you stopped stirring the water. You may feel the tug of thoughts, what you didn't get done, what tomorrow may bring, what's unresolved. But you can let those thoughts rise and fall without attaching. You can witness them from a place so quiet, so spacious, that they begin to lose their urgency. They become like shadows moving across a wall, present but insubstantial. They no longer define your reality. They no longer define you. The stillness within you becomes the lens through which you see the world. And that lens does not distort, does not dramatize. It simply reflects what is and allows it to pass. Feel now how your breath slows naturally as your awareness deepens. Feel how your limbs grow heavier, not from burden, but from release. You are surrendering to what is already here. You are not constructing calm. You are remembering it. You are returning to a place inside that never left, only became obscured by thought, by tension, by the momentum of doing. Now, you are resting in the space beneath it all, in the vast silence that is not empty, but full of presence, of potential, of peace. You may not hear anything dramatic. You may not feel a grand shift, but even in this gentle quiet, everything changes. When you stop chasing, when you stop grasping what is real, has space to appear. The truth is always quiet. The self that watches is always still. You do not need to search for this place. You are already in it. It is not somewhere you arrive. It is somewhere you stop and see. If emotion arises, allow it. If thoughts come, notice them. If nothing happens at all, let that be enough. Stillness is not a performance. There is no measure of success here. There is no result you need to achieve. There is only the breath and the quiet knowing behind it. There is only the body resting, the heart softening the mind, loosening its grip. You may imagine a vast lake at dawn. No wind, no ripples, just pure reflection. That is what your awareness becomes when you no longer grasp, when you no longer add stories to sensation, when you no longer need this moment to be any different. That lake is in you now, that mirror-like stillness. And within it, the noise of the world begins to lose its hold. Sleep may come or not. Thoughts may remain or fade, but you remain still. You remain here, and that is enough. You do not need to be emptied to find stillness. You simply need to stop filling, to let yourself be held by the quiet, to let yourself remember that underneath all noise is silence, and that silence is alive, and that life, when seen through the eyes of stillness, is already whole. Walking the path of the middle way means you no longer swing wildly between extremes, no longer fall into the tight grip of control, nor collapse into helpless surrender. It means that you begin to walk gently between the edges, steady and quiet, not because everything outside has calmed, but because you have chosen not to be ruled by either indulgence or denial. The middle way is not a line drawn by someone else for you to follow. It is a balance that lives within your breath, within the rise and fall of your body, within the space between reaction and response. It is the still point between too much and not enough, between pushing away and holding too tightly, between needing answers and being lost in confusion. In this space, there is clarity, and it begins with pausing long enough to feel where you are. You are not asked to be perfect, not asked to choose once and never waver. You are asked only to return each time you fall too far in one direction, to notice the tug toward craving, the collapse into aversion, and to breathe, to stand still, and to gently come back to center. As you lie here tonight, notice where your mind tends to lean. Does it reach forward toward desire, toward needing things to be different, better, more secure, more certain? Or does it pull backward into regret? Self-blame, a heaviness about what you cannot undo. Both are distractions from this moment, and both can be softened when you find your footing in the now. The middle way is not neutral indifference, not emptiness or numbness, but an alive presence that neither clings nor rejects. It is warm. It is awake. It knows how to stay with things just as they are without needing to be swept away. When joy arises, it welcomes it with open hands, not grasping to make it stay. When sorrow comes, it allows space without drowning. It walks with both, as companions, not masters. It is this gentle rhythm you are being invited into now. The Buddha did not discover this path by avoiding pain or chasing pleasure. He discovered it by walking straight through the middle of both, by observing his own extremes, by failing and returning, by listening deeply to the wisdom of balance. You too are walking that path in your own way, here in the stillness of night, in the gentle awareness of your breath, in the noticing of your mind's habits, and the soft refusal to follow them blindly. Each time you notice you are lost in thought and gently come back, you are practicing the middle way. Each time you notice a judgment and choose to watch it instead of obey it, you are practicing the middle way. Each time you feel discomfort and soften into it instead of bracing against it, you are walking the quiet edge of presence. This path is not narrow. It is spacious. It allows for movement, for return, for mistake and correction. It is not rigid. It flows like water, guided by awareness, not rules. And you do not have to master it tonight. You only need to feel its invitation. To notice how it feels in your body when you're caught in one extreme, when you're overthinking, when you're resisting sleep, when you're chasing an outcome, and then to breathe and to gently guide yourself back to the center. That is all. That is enough. There is a stillness that lives at the heart of this practice, but it is not passive. It is alert, awake, deeply intimate with life. It knows how to respond without reacting. It knows how to be still without being stuck. You are resting in that stillness now, and it may not feel dramatic or profound. It may feel like nothing at all. But that nothing is everything. That space is where peace begins. That space is where healing happens. It's not in the high or the low. It's in the place that watches both. Feel how your breath moves without force, how your body rests without demand, how your awareness opens when you stop trying to hold everything together. This is the balance that the middle way offers, not the balance of a tightrope walker fearing the fall, but the balance of a tree rooted in the earth, swaying gently with the wind, flexible and firm, alive and at ease. You are not brittle here. You are not rigid. You are soft, and in that softness there is strength. There is a wisdom that comes when you allow yourself to stop swinging between trying too hard and giving up, when you no longer rush to fix everything or abandon yourself entirely. Walking the middle way is not always visible. It happens in the quiet choices, the decision to pause instead of react, to breathe instead of brace, to observe instead of judge. It happens when you forgive yourself for not being perfect, when you remember that being human is not a flaw, but a doorway into compassion. You are walking that path now, and every breath that brings you back to this moment is a step. You do not have to know where the path leads. You only need to stay close to the breath, to the body, to the truth that peace lives between extremes. And in this gentle balance, sleep becomes easier. Not because the mind is empty, but because you are no longer swinging. You are no longer being pulled. You are resting in the middle, and the middle is steady, and the middle is home. The kindness of gentle awareness is a medicine more powerful than any resistance, more soothing than any escape, and more transformative than any harsh correction you've ever tried to apply to yourself. It is not a tool of control, but a way of seeing, a way of relating to your experience without needing to change it in order to accept it. Gentle awareness means you notice without judgment, you witness without tension, you allow without fear. It means that as your thoughts rise, you don't chase them. And as your feelings unfold, you don't run. You simply stay with softness, with presence, with breath. This is not passivity. It is profound intimacy, the kind that doesn't need to fix in order to care. Most of the time, we are taught that awareness should be sharp, precise, focused, like a spotlight used to catch and correct every mistake, to track every deviation, to discipline every failure. But Zen invites a different kind of awareness, one that is less like a spotlight and more like sunlight, steady, warm, all-embracing, without force, without demand, simply offering itself to whatever arises. Tonight, as you lie here, you are learning to be with yourself in this way, not as a problem to be solved, but as a presence to be held. Maybe your mind still moves. Maybe it still produces images, questions, anxieties. That's okay. You don't need to shut it down. You only need to see it. Awareness itself is already the beginning of healing. When you observe without clinging, when you breathe without resistance, something in you begins to loosen like a knot that's been held too tightly for too long. You do not need to untie the knot with force. You only need to stop pulling. You only need to soften and give it space to unfold on its own. The kindness of gentle awareness is not something you apply on top of tension. It's what remains when you stop adding pressure, when you stop criticizing your experience and start witnessing it with care. You may have spent years speaking to yourself in tones you would never use with a loved one. You may have believed that only through pressure and discipline could you grow, that only through harsh self-monitoring could you find peace. But look at where that has brought you. Look at how tired your mind is from being policed. Look at how tense your body is from being corrected. What would happen if for this one night you chose a different approach, not to abandon discipline, but to begin with compassion, to let your awareness become less of a spotlight interrogating what's wrong and more like a warm lamp illuminating what is. This shift does not dull the mind, it opens it. Does not let go of truth. It allows it to be seen without fear. As you bring this kindness into your awareness, notice how it changes even the most ordinary sensations. The pressure in your chest is no longer an enemy, but a visitor. The thought about tomorrow is no longer a threat, but a wave passing across your field of vision. The twitch in your muscles, the restlessness in your legs, the flickering images behind closed eyes, they're not disruptions. They're just part of the whole. And you are the whole. You are the space that allows it all to exist. When you bring kindness to your awareness, you are no longer asking the moment to be different. You're asking yourself to be more open. Not to change reality, but to be in deeper relationship with it. Zen reminds us again and again that true transformation happens not through control, but through intimacy. To be intimate with your life is to stop holding it at a distance, to let it unfold inside you with all its imperfections, its contradictions, its waves and silences. You don't need to agree with every thought to witness it. You don't need to enjoy every feeling to hold it in awareness. Kindness is not the same as liking something. It is the act of not rejecting it, of letting it be seen without exile. That which is seen with gentleness often softens. That which is welcomed often loses its need to scream. Even the most persistent thoughts grow quiet when they are no longer argued with. Even the most intense feelings begin to shift when they are met with presence instead of punishment. As your body rests deeper into the bed, feel how this kind awareness moves with you. It doesn't rush. It doesn't demand that you relax. It invites. It reminds. It whispers, you are allowed to feel this. You are allowed to be exactly as you are. Nothing needs to be solved right now. Nothing needs to be improved. Awareness is enough. Let your hands rest. Let your jaw loosen. Let your shoulders sink. Not because you forced them, but because you stopped holding yourself so tightly. You are not a project. You are a presence. You are not a machine to be optimized. You are a being to be witnessed, moment by moment, breath by breath. And if the mind still moves, let it. Let it drift. Let it echo. Let it be a river you stand beside, not a current that pulls you under. Gentle awareness does not block the river. It watches it flow without jumping in. This is your practice tonight. Not stillness as silence, not awareness as control, but the soft, steady seeing of all that arises. It is enough to watch. It is enough to breathe. It is enough to be. The echo of karma is just a whisper, not a sentence, not a punishment, not a heavy fate pressing down on your chest as you try to sleep. Karma is simply the unfolding of cause and effect, the natural rhythm of actions meeting consequences, thoughts shaping feelings, words planting seeds in the soil of time. It is not here to condemn you, but to awaken you, to show you the quiet power of your own mind, your own intentions, your own choices repeated over and over again, like footsteps creating a path. You are not a prisoner of your past actions. You are the one who acts now, the one who breathes now, the one who decides in this moment whether to respond with kindness or fear, whether to resist or to soften, whether to judge or to understand. Karma is not some ancient script written in stone. It is fluid, like water changing direction when the channel shifts. It is not a cycle you are stuck in. It is a pattern you are constantly participating in, and each breath is a chance to begin again. Tonight, as you lie still and listen to the silence between your thoughts, you may hear the echoes of past moments, the harsh word you regret, the opportunity you missed, the fear that shaped a choice. These are not here to haunt you. They are just ripples, waves from a distant shore arriving gently at your feet. You do not need to wrestle with them. You do not need to drown in them. You can watch them. You can acknowledge them. You can breathe with them and let them pass. What matters now is not the origin of the ripple, but how you meet it. Do you flinch or do you open? Do you react or do you witness? The karma of this moment is born in how you respond not to the past, but to the present. Right now, the echo is just a whisper. And in this stillness, you can choose not to shout back. Gentle awareness turns karma from a chain into a teaching. It shows you that every thought, even the quietest, carries an energy, a momentum. Not because you must be afraid of thinking the wrong thing, but because you begin to feel how thoughts affect the texture of your body, the tone of your inner voice, the weight of your breath. A single compassionate thought can soften your chest. A single breath of forgiveness can melt tension in your shoulders. This is karma in motion, not punishment, but resonance. When you plant a seed of anger, you feel its thorns. When you plant a seed of compassion, you feel its bloom. You do not need to track every past action to understand karma. You only need to notice how you feel when you act from fear versus when you act from love. And even more gently, you begin to understand that karma is not just what you do to others, it is also what you do to yourself. Every time you shame yourself, push yourself, ignore yourself, you plant a seed in your own soil. And the body remembers, the breath remembers, the sleep remembers. You are not being punished by karma. You are experiencing the echoes of how long you've carried yourself without softness. But the moment you recognize this, the pattern begins to change. The spiral slows. The loop opens. Not because you escaped karma, but because you finally listened to what it was trying to teach you. That intention matters, that presence heals, that nothing you do is meaningless. Let yourself feel the simplicity of this truth. Not as a concept, but as a sensation in your breath. Inhale with care, exhale with release. Each breath becomes an act of loving karma. Each moment of awareness becomes a new seed. You are planting something now, not for a far future, not for some distant rebirth, but for the quality of your rest tonight, for the lightness in your chest, for the way your heart softens around itself instead of hardening. Karma is not a ledger, it is a garden. What you tend to grows. What you neglect withers. What you poison becomes your own meal. But what you bless with awareness becomes your peace. You may notice memories rise as you drift images of things said or done, moments that still carry emotion. This is not a sign you are failing. It is a sign that the body is ready to release. Karma stored in the muscles in the nervous system, in the tone of your voice, and the tension in your back, it comes up now, not to punish, but to be met, to be seen, to be transformed by your presence. You don't need to fix the past. You only need to feel this moment fully, and in doing so, you shift the direction of the wave. Karma that is witnessed dissolves. Karma that is held with compassion ripens into freedom. There is nothing you have done that makes you unworthy of peace. There is no action so dark that it cannot be met with the light of awareness. There is no mistake so heavy that the breath cannot carry it away slowly, gently over time. The whisper of karma is not here to remind you that you are broken. It is here to remind you that you are the one who can stop the repetition, that you are the one who can rest, and in resting break the cycle of self-harm. You do not need to carry all your past selves to bed. You can let them go. You can thank them for what they taught you and release them like petals into the stream of the breath. They will find their own way. Karma is not holding you. You are holding karma. Let it move. Let it breathe. Let it flow back into the earth as you sleep. And trust that what remains is only what is needed for your next step, your next breath, your next moment of soft and sacred awareness. A candle does not fear the dark. It does not resist the night around. It does not panic at the vastness of the shadows, does not question its own glow, simply because the world beyond it is not yet lit. The candle simply shines, gently, quietly, steadily. Its flame is not a shout, it is a whisper, but a persistent one, unshaken by the silence. You are that candle. Your awareness is the flame. Even when thoughts move like thick clouds, even when emotions feel heavy and tangled, even when sleep seems distant, your awareness remains flickering softly at the center of your being. It does not need to conquer the dark. It only needs to stay present. And that presence is enough to change the nature of the night. Darkness is not the enemy. In Zen, it is part of the path. In stillness and in shadow, you meet yourself not as an idea, but as a living presence. In the absence of distraction, in the quiet between thoughts, your true nature becomes clearer. Not something you need to build or fix, but something you begin to remember. The candle of your awareness does not need to burn brighter. It only needs to be seen. So tonight, instead of fearing what rises in the silence, instead of resisting the darkness, you are invited to rest within it. Not to analyze, not to interpret, simply to be. You do not need to fill the silence. You do not need to chase the light. You are the light. Your breath continues soft and steady. With each inhale, the flame grows more stable. With each exhale, it releases the smoke of thoughts that no longer serve. The body follows unwinding from the inside. The jaw unclenches, the shoulders fall. The muscles slowly melt into the support beneath you. You are not pushing anything away. You are allowing everything to be exactly as it is. This is not apathy. This is spaciousness. This is what it means to stop bracing and to start receiving. Even the darkness becomes soft when you stop resisting it. Even the unknown becomes quiet when you stop demanding certainty. The candle needs no assurance that the sun will rise. It trusts the rhythm of night and morning, of breath and stillness, of tension and release. Feel how your mind begins to move less, not because you forced it to be quiet, but because you gave it nothing to fight. You stopped feeding it with reaction, and so it settles. This is the true miracle. Not that thoughts vanish, but that they lose their grip. Not that you escape the dark, but that you find you are safe within it. There is peace here, not because everything has been solved, but because you are no longer at war with what is. The candle does not resist the room it illuminates. It simply offers light. You are learning to do the same with your awareness. You are no longer trying to control your thoughts, to extinguish your fears, to overpower discomfort. You are shining presence on all of it softly, steadily, without aggression. You are seeing clearly, and in seeing, you are transforming what you used to fight. This is the quiet courage of presence, to stay with yourself, even when the mind is noisy, even when the emotions are messy, even when sleep feels far away. The candle does not blow itself out because the night is long. It continues moment by moment, breath by breath. Flame dancing with the air. You are breathing now, and the breath is fanning the flame of your awareness. Not brighter, but steadier. Not louder, but deeper. You are beginning to sense that you do not need to be ablaze to matter. A soft light is enough. A quiet presence is enough. You are enough. Let the darkness around you deepen. Let the room become quiet. Let the world fall away. Not as an escape, but as a return. The return to what remains when you are no longer distracted. The return to yourself. The thoughts may come, but they do not need to take you. The sensations may arise, but they do not need to define you. You are not what moves. You are what sees. You are not what comes and goes. You are the candle that remains. Imagine now that this flame is resting in the center of your chest, not burning, but glowing. It warms every corner of your body. It softens every sharpness, every edge, every tightness. There is nothing this light does not touch. It moves into your hands, releasing effort. It moves into your legs, dissolving resistance. It flows up your spine gently, straightening what has curled in fatigue. You are filled with your own presence, not as a concept, but as a felt sense, something that does not need to be named to be true. And with each breath, the light deepens, not spreading outward, but inward, becoming more intimate, more rooted, more yours. You do not need to control this. You do not need to hold on to it. The candle does not strain to shine. It simply does. In your stillness, in your breath, in your allowing, you have become that light. You are not waiting to be illuminated by something outside. You are remembering the light that was always within you, even when you doubted, even when you forgot, even when you feared the dark, the flame remained. You are resting in it now. You are breathing with it now. You are home. The lotus blooms in mud, not despite it, but because of it, drawing its beauty and strength from the dark waters beneath. rising slowly, patiently, without haste, through the murky depths, reaching toward the sun, not in rejection of where it came from, but in full acceptance of the richness that nourished it. Your suffering is not a mistake. Your struggle is not a flaw. They are part of the soil in which you grow. Every moment of pain, every wave of confusion, every ache you carry is not proof that you are broken. It is proof that you are human, unfolding, becoming. In Buddhism, we do not try to skip over the mud. We do not try to rise without roots. We honor the mud because it teaches. It softens what is rigid, humbles what is proud, deepens what is shallow. The pain you've felt, the mistakes you've made, the doubts that visit you in the quiet hours, all of it has shaped you, carved channels within you where compassion can now flow. As you lie here tonight, you may still feel remnants of that mud. Regret may surface. Unfinished stories may whisper. Old fears may stir at the edges of your stillness. And that's all right. You don't need to purify yourself of pain before you can rest. You don't need to scrub your mind clean of thought before you are worthy of peace. You are not here to avoid the mud. You are here to recognize that the mud is part of the practice. That every dark place is also a place where light might take root. The lotus does not bloom in clear water. It rises from murkiness, and so do you. Feel the heaviness in your chest as part of the process, not a problem to fix. Feel the weight in your limbs as the grounding force of your own becoming. You are not floating above life. You are rooted in it, and those roots matter. They give you substance. They give you truth. When your thoughts feel too loud, or your body feels too tired, remember that this is part of the blooming. No flower unfolds in a single night. No transformation happens without resistance. Let yourself soften around that truth. Let yourself be held by it. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are growing through the dark. There is a kind of wisdom that comes only through suffering, not the kind that makes you bitter or hardened, but the kind that opens you up, slowly, steadily, like petals meeting the light for the first time. This wisdom does not shout. It listens. It watches. It waits. And you are cultivating it now by doing nothing more than being present with what is, with the breath, with the silence, with the quiet ache and the subtle peace that lives beneath it. You don't have to force anything to change. You don't have to hurry your healing. The mud is not a problem to escape. It is the place you begin. If your thoughts drift now to past decisions, to pain you caused, or pain you received, just breathe with them. You don't need to analyze. You don't need to relive. You can meet each memory like a guest. Acknowledge it, bow to it, and let it pass. The mind will try to dig into the mud, to stir it up, to label it. But your breath knows better. Your breath knows how to move through. Each inhale draws in fresh air. Each exhale releases a little more of what you've held. Bit by bit, the soil softens. Bit by bit, the light enters. You may not see your own blooming yet. That's okay. The lotus doesn't rush to unfold. It doesn't compare itself to other flowers. It rises because that is its nature, because it trusts the process, because it belongs in the water and in the air. You belong here too, in the dark and in the light, in the struggle and in the stillness. There is room for all of it. There is room for all of you. Nothing needs to be discarded. Nothing needs to be perfect. Every part of your experience is part of your path, so breathe now with that understanding. Let your breath flow through you, like sunlight through water. Let it touch every place that feels heavy. Let it nourish the seeds you didn't even know were there. The seeds of patience, the seeds of compassion, the seeds of presence. They do not need your pressure to grow. They need your space. They need your trust. They need your willingness to sit in the mud without shame. You are doing that now, in this moment, with this breath. If tears come, let them come. If nothing comes, let that be too. Stillness is not measured by sensation. Growth is not always visible. Healing is not always loud. Sometimes it happens in the silence, in the slowness, in the simple act of breathing through one more moment. You are not waiting for permission to become whole. You are already becoming, right now, right here. The mud beneath you is not the end of the story. It is the beginning. The roots you plant here will feed the bloom. The darkness you face now will shape the strength of your light. Let yourself stay soft in the soil. Let yourself rest. Let yourself grow. No self. No struggle. When you stop believing in the solidness of the one who suffers, the one who tries, the one who clings and fears and strives and holds tightly to identity like armor, everything changes. Not because the world becomes easier, but because you begin to see that the one who fights the world was never as fixed, never as real as you thought. The belief in a separate self, a singular identity you must protect and prove and polish, is the very center of so much of your pain. And the moment you loosen that belief, even slightly, the struggle begins to fade, not by being conquered, but by being seen through. In Buddhism, this is the teaching of anatta, the truth of no self, not a denial of your experience, but a recognition that what you call me is just a bundle of ever-changing process, thoughts, sensations, memories, emotions, all rising and passing, forming a temporary appearance, a story that feels personal, but is actually just a play of conditions. You do not need to get rid of the self. You simply need to see that it is not the solid object you've taken it to be. It's more like a reflection in a river, appearing, shimmering, dissolving. And when you stop grasping it so tightly, you begin to experience a strange and profound lightness, as if the one who suffered has stepped back. And what remains is just breath, just presence, just space. You may feel tired tonight because the self has been working hard. It's been trying to maintain its position, trying to hold its place in the world, trying to manage impressions, preserve its pride, avoid its shame. And all of that is exhausting. You were not born with this self. You built it from what you were told, from what you learned from your reactions to pain and praise. But under all of that construction, there is something far more spacious, something that doesn't need a name or a defense. That is who you are. Not the collection of roles and ideas, but the awareness in which all of that arises. You are not the character. You are the stage. And when you rest in that realization, even just for a breath, you begin to feel how much of your struggle was built on illusion. The anxiety about being good enough, the tension of having to prove something, the fear of losing what defines you. They all rely on the idea that there is a solid self to protect. When that illusion softens, so does the suffering. Let yourself soften now. Let yourself relax, not as the person who always performs, but as the awareness that watches the performance dissolve. You don't have to hold up your image tonight. You don't have to fix anything. There's nothing to manage. Just breathe and notice what comes and goes. The thoughts about who you are, watch them. The emotions that rise with those thoughts, feel them. And then notice what watches it all. That watcher is not a person. It has no name. It does not judge. It does not need anything. It is the space in which all things appear. And it is always still, always silent, always free. When you rest there, you rest beyond struggle, because struggle belongs to the self, and you are not that. Maybe you've spent your life trying to become someone, trying to be seen a certain way, trying to succeed or to be loved or to be enough. And none of those desires are wrong. They come from a deep longing to feel safe, to feel whole. But they also come from a misunderstanding, from the belief that wholeness depends on identity, that peace depends on a perfected version of you. What if peace has nothing to do with who you are? What if it only depends on letting go of who you think you have to be? There is nothing more relieving than realizing you don't have to be anything tonight. Not wise, not strong, not impressive. Just here, just aware, just breathing. Notice how your body changes when you let go of being someone. The shoulders fall, the chest opens, the hands release. You become fluid, you become soft, you become real, not as an idea, but as experience. The idea of you is stiff, defined by edges and expectations. The reality of you is breath sensation, presence, movement, always changing, always flowing. And what suffers is always the idea, not the presence. The presence simply is. The presence watches pain come and go, watches stories rise and fade, watches the you narrative appear and dissolve, and it does so without resistance, without needing to fix anything. You may have believed that having a strong sense of self would protect you, that if you were sure of who you were, you'd be safe. But sometimes that self becomes a prison, a set of walls built around your heart. And when you loosen those walls, even if just a little something beautiful happens, you start to connect not just with yourself, but with everything. Because without the tight boundaries of me, mine, my worth, you begin to see that others are not so different from you, that their fears are like yours, that their joys echo your own, that behind every mask is the same presence watching, waiting, breathing. Compassion becomes natural when the self softens because there is no longer a separation to defend. Let yourself feel that connection now, not as a concept, but as a felt sense. The air in your lungs is the same air that moves through the trees. The stillness in your body is the same stillness held in the earth beneath you. The awareness in you is not yours. It is not owned. It is shared, open, vast. It flows through all things. The wave has shape, but the water belongs to the sea. You are a wave rising and falling, made of the same ocean as everything else. And knowing that even for a breath dissolves the need to prove, to hold, to protect. You are already held, not as a separate self, but as part of something whole. You are not erasing who you are. You are seeing through who you are not. You are not throwing away your identity. You are relaxing your grip on it, letting it rest, letting it float instead of tighten. The you that is anxious, the you that is trying to sleep, the you that wants to let go, but doesn't know how they are appearances, stories, ripples, and you are not inside them. You are watching them move. You are breathing beneath them. You are still here, and here is enough. Allow the breath to return now, slow and steady. Let the inhale remind you that no effort is required to be. Let the exhale remind you that release is always possible. Let the silence beneath your thoughts hold you gently, like water holds the shape of a leaf floating without struggle. You do not need to become anything tonight. You do not need to fix the self. You only need to rest as the awareness that watches it rise and fall. No self, no struggle. Just this breath, just this moment, just the quiet unfolding of now. Accepting what you cannot change is not an act of surrendering to defeat, but a deep bow to the truth of things as they are. It is the soft wisdom that rises when the struggle has exhausted itself, when the mind no longer has the strength to argue with reality and begins perhaps for the first time to listen. Acceptance is not passive, not resignation, not giving up in despair. It is the courage to stop resisting the present, to stop living in the gap between how things are and how we demand them to be. It is a willingness to sit with life exactly as it unfolds without adding the extra weight of wishing it were otherwise. In this way, acceptance is not a weakness, but a strength, not a retreat, but a return, not an abandonment of effort, but the beginning of a new kind of peace that does not depend on outcomes or perfection. When you begin to accept truly and fully, your body lets go of the armor it built. In fear, your breath returns from the corners of tension and your mind sinks down into the silence of what is real, what is now, what is always already here. As you lie here tonight, with your eyes closed and your body slowly unraveling from the day's grip, ask yourself gently, what am I still fighting? Is it something from the past that cannot be redone? Is it someone's behavior, something unfair, something unresolved? Is it your own mind? The thoughts that will not quiet the feelings that do not match who you think you should be? And whatever the answer is, you do not have to fix it in this moment. You do not have to win the argument. You are allowed to stop pushing. You are allowed to breathe. You are allowed to simply say, This is here. This is how it is. This too is part of the path. In the stillness of this night, you may notice the subtle trembling of resistance. It can be small, barely noticeable. A clench in your jaw, a tightening around the eyes, a shallow breath that hesitates to fully release. These are the body's quiet expressions of holding on, of saying no to something that has already arrived. And when you bring awareness to these places, when you greet them without judgment, they begin to soften. Not because you told them to, not because you forced calm, but because you saw them, you acknowledged them, and you gave them space. This is what acceptance looks like in practice. It is not a grand statement, not a dramatic moment of letting go, but 1,000 quiet breaths where you choose to feel, instead of flee, where you choose to stay, instead of fix. It is in this breath right now where your shoulders drop just a little further, where your hands rest a little more openly, where the fight loses just a little of its fuel. You begin to discover that the mind does not have to agree with reality in order for you to rest within it. You begin to discover that peace is not found in control, but in allowing the grief to rise, allowing the regret to exist, allowing the not knowing to remain unanswered, allowing your experience to be whole, even if it is uncomfortable, even if it does not match your plan. The paradox is that when you stop trying to change everything, you create the space for something to move, not because you forced it, but because you stopped standing in the way. The Buddha did not promise a life without suffering. He promised a path through it. And that path begins with seeing things as they are, not as we imagine them, not as we fear them, not as we wish them to be, but as they show up moment by moment. When you accept that there is pain, that there is uncertainty, that there are conditions beyond your influence, you are not giving up. You are aligning with truth. And truth, however raw, is the only place where real peace can begin. If you wait for life to become the version you prefer, before you allow yourself to feel calm, you will wait forever. But if you allow calm to arise in the presence of what is without waiting for permission, without waiting for perfection, then even the chaos begins to feel more spacious. Even the pain begins to soften at the edges, because you are no longer squeezing it with judgment. You are no longer feeding it with resistance. Acceptance does not mean you like everything. It does not mean you stop caring or become numb. It means you stop arguing with what already is. And from that space, real wisdom arises. The wisdom that knows what can be changed and what cannot. The wisdom that acts from clarity rather than reaction. The wisdom that says, I do not need to punish myself in order to grow. I do not need to erase my past to step into my future. I do not need to know how everything will unfold in order to rest in this moment. Feel that now, not as an idea, but as a sensation. Feel how your body responds when you say, quietly inwardly, I allow this moment to be as it is. Not because I've given up, but because I've come home. This breath is allowed. This thought is allowed. This feeling is allowed. This body as it is in this bed at this hour is allowed to rest. You do not need to earn that rest. You do not need to wait until the mind is quiet or the heart is light. Acceptance means you make room for yourself exactly as you are, not as a project, but as a presence, not as a problem, but as a process unfolding in its own time, in its own shape. This is not a flaw. This is not failure. This is life. And when you begin to accept life, it begins to feel more livable. Not because it becomes easier, but because you become less afraid, less divided, less at war with yourself. Let this night be a practice in acceptance, not a forced agreement, but a soft witnessing. Let the breath come and go without manipulation. Let the thoughts arrive and leave without control. Let the body lie here held by gravity, held by the bed, held by your own awareness. Let this moment be enough. Let it be whole. Let it be exactly what it is. And feel in that, allowing how something deep inside you begins to rest. Not because everything is resolved, but because you stop trying to resolve everything all at once. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are experiencing what it means to be alive. And to be alive means to sometimes carry discomfort, but you do not need to carry it alone. You do not need to hold it with clenched fists. You can hold it like a leaf, like a breath, like a passing moment that does not define you but teaches you. Let the breath rise. Let the breath fall. Let yourself rest in the arms of acceptance, which is not the end of growth, but the beginning of true peace. Everything you seek is already here, not as a possession to be gained or a destination to be reached, but as the very fabric of your being quietly present in the background, while the mind chases images and the heart longs for something just beyond its grasp. The peace you want is not waiting in some future version of yourself. It is alive in the stillness you are learning to trust. The love you crave is not something another person must unlock for you. It is flowing gently in the awareness that holds your thoughts and emotions without judgment. The freedom you imagine in distant plans or perfect conditions is here in the breath. Here, in the choice to stop reaching outward and turn gently inward toward what has never left. This is the paradox of the path. Not that we must strive endlessly to arrive at truth, but that we must slow down enough to notice it was always beneath our feet. The grasping, the seeking, the hunger for resolution are not signs that something is wrong with you. They are echoes of a misunderstanding, the deep-rooted belief that you are missing something essential, that you must add something more to finally be whole. But in Zen, we are reminded again and again that the seeker and the sought are not two, that what you search for with such urgency is the very present searching, that the self who longs and the silence it longs for are made of the same light. As you lie here tonight, you may feel the traces of that seeking images flashing through the mind of what could be, what should have been, what might fix everything. Let them come. Let them rise like dust in a shaft of light. Let them swirl and fade. You don't need to follow them. You don't need to resist them. You only need to see that they are movements, not truths. Sensations, not destinations. They pass because they are not you. You are the one watching the space in which all of this appears and disappears. And in that space, there is already peace, already enoughness, already a completeness so ordinary, the mind often overlooks it. We are trained to look for peace in the grand, in the dramatic, in the new. But peace is what remains when the seeking stops. It's not absence, it's presence. Not emptiness, but fullness without weight, fullness without striving. You are not being asked to give up your dreams or desires. You are simply being invited to see that even without them fulfilled, you can rest. That there is no need to wait for life to match the mind's vision before allowing yourself to breathe fully, to soften completely, to arrive. This moment, as it is, holds everything. Not because it contains all possible outcomes, but because it contains your awareness. And awareness is the container of all experience. When you are present, truly present, you begin to feel that nothing needs to be added for it to be whole. The noise may still exist. The body may still ache. The thoughts may still wander. But something within you no longer rushes to change it. Something within you says, "This is enough." And in that pause, in that quiet recognition, you glimpse the truth. The peace you've been searching for is not around the next corner. It is in the breath you're taking now. Not the breath after this one. Not the breath once you've solved every puzzle. This one. Even the sense that you must improve, that you must become something better, can soften in this light. Growth will happen. Change will come. But it is not because you are unworthy now. It is because life moves and you are part of that movement. There is no shame in still being in process. There is no need to rush. The tree does not hurry to grow. The river does not force its flow. And you too are unfolding in your own way, in your own time. And none of it is outside the truth. When you begin to see that this breath, this body, this awareness is already complete, the urgency falls away. The need to grasp relaxes. And in that relaxation, something beautiful happens. You begin to feel safe inside yourself. For many people, the deepest suffering is the sense of being alienated from their own being, of not feeling at home inside their own body or mind. And so they search outward endlessly, hoping to find the thing that will finally make them feel whole. But the home you are looking for is not in another place. It is not in the resolution of every problem. It is not in perfection. It is here in your direct experience, in your breath, in your heartbeat, in your awareness of this moment. Come back to it now. Feel it without embellishment. Don't demand that it be dramatic. Don't ask it to impress you. Just let it be simple. Let it be quiet. Let it be enough. The mind may resist. It may say, "This can't be all. There must be more." Smile at that voice. It is doing what it was conditioned to do. It's looking for security. But true security is not in control. It's in intimacy with what is. When you rest with this moment as it is, without needing anything to change, you are truly free. Let yourself rest in that freedom now. The freedom of not needing to improve, not needing to fix, not needing to be anywhere else. You have arrived. Not because you went somewhere, but because you stopped going. Not because you accomplished anything, but because you let go of needing to. Let your hands lie heavy. Let your jaw relax. Let your chest open just a little more. Feel the breath move through you like a tide, rising, falling, returning, always returning. And with each return, you become more intimate with the truth that you are already here, that everything you seek is not waiting. It is offering itself gently in the texture of your breath, in the softness of this moment, in the silence behind every thought. You don't need to understand all of this right away. You don't need to make it a belief or a rule. You only need to feel it. Let it soak in like warm water through tired skin. Let it move through your body slowly. Let it become the ground you walk on. And when the seeking returns, as it will, you can smile at it. You can say, "Yes, I know that feeling," and you can gently return back to the breath, back to the body, back to the awareness that never left. Everything you seek is already here. You are not lacking. You are not broken. You are not waiting for the right key to unlock your peace. You are the door already open, already whole. The more you return to that knowing, the less effort it takes, the more natural it feels, until one night, perhaps tonight, you lie down not as someone trying to become peaceful, but as peace itself, resting quietly in the truth that nothing more is needed because everything is already complete. Awareness does not sleep, even when the body sinks into rest, even when the mind drifts into dreams, even when the thoughts no longer form sentences and time begins to stretch and blur. Awareness remains. Not the kind of awareness that thinks, not the voice in your head that analyzes or labels or remembers, but the deep and quiet knowing that simply sees, simply is. It is the space behind every sound, the openness beneath every breath, the silent witness that does not move, even as everything else moves through it. You have felt this awareness before in fleeting moments when everything became still. And you noticed you were noticing when time paused and you were not thinking but simply present. It lives in the pauses, in the gaps, in the space between your thoughts and your reactions, and it never leaves. You do not need to create it. You do not need to imagine it. You only need to stop overlooking it, because it is always here, even now, as you lie in the quiet. Even as your muscles soften and your breath slows and your mind begins to dissolve into the gentle rhythms of night. The body rests, the mind rests, but awareness does not rest because it does not tire. It is not a function. It is not a process. It is the foundation beneath everything that changes. And this awareness is not separate from you. It is not something you step into, like a doorway or a room. It is who you are. When you stop pretending to be anyone else, the roles fall away, the thoughts fade, the history releases, and what remains is simple, silent presence, open, effortless, awake. You can feel it now if you turn your attention not toward any object, but toward the space in which everything arises. Try it. Instead of focusing on the breath itself, notice the space in which the breath appears. Instead of thinking about a sound, become aware of the silence in which the sound happens. And when you touch that space, even for a moment, you recognize that this awareness is not personal. It does not belong to you. It is not my awareness. It is awareness itself. It is the same awareness through which all experience flows, through which all people see and feel and think. The content of your experience may be unique, but the knowing of it is not. There is no boundary to it, no edge, no center, just an open field in which all things come and go. You may notice now that as your body relaxes more deeply, your identity loosens. The sense of being someone in particular, someone with a name and a history and preferences and fears, begins to thin out, not disappear, but soften. You are not trying to become nothing. You are simply seeing that who you are is not limited to the character you usually play. You are the awareness watching the character. The awareness that does not sleep. The awareness that continues whether or not the mind is thinking or the senses are alert. In deep sleep, when the body is completely at rest and the mind is quiet, awareness is still there. It does not disappear. It does not fade. It simply remains without content, pure and spacious, like the sky without clouds. This is not a mystical idea. It is something you have experienced again and again, but perhaps have not noticed. Tonight, you are noticing. Not with effort, not with strain, but with the ease that comes from finally stopping the search and simply being what you already are. As your breath continues, notice how even the sensation of breathing appears within awareness. It is not something you do. It is something that happens, and you are the space in which it happens. Each inhale is witnessed. Each exhale is known. There is no need to control it, no need to follow it. It is simply one more movement in the field of awareness. And all the while you remain unchanging, unmoved, silent, awake. There is great peace in this realization, not because it changes what you feel, but because it gives you a new way of relating to everything you feel. Instead of being caught inside every emotion or every thought, you begin to watch them rise and fall like waves in the ocean. And you are not the waves. You are the ocean. You are not the storm. You are the sky. This perspective is not detached. It is intimate. It allows everything to be as it is, without resistance, because nothing threatens the sky. Nothing disturbs the space. Awareness does not flinch. It does not recoil. It does not judge. It simply sees. And in that seeing, healing begins. Not the healing that comes from fixing, but the healing that comes from allowing. From saying, yes, this is here. Yes, this too belongs. Yes, even this pain, even this fear, even this confusion is part of the moment. And so it is held, and so it is seen, and so it begins to soften. Awareness does not fix. It does not manipulate. It does not seek results. But its very presence is a balm. Because what has been exiled begins to return. What has been denied begins to breathe again. There is a dignity in this kind of presence, a quiet grace. You don't have to become someone else to be worthy of it. You don't have to reach a special state. You only need to notice, to allow, to rest. And even as the mind drifts, even as sleep comes closer, awareness remains. Watching, holding, spacious. It is not disturbed by dreams. It is not broken by waking. It is the background of everything, and it is not bound by time. The same awareness that watched you as a child, that watched your first thoughts and fears and joys, is still here, now unchanged. The body has changed. The memories have shifted. The story has grown more complex. But the witness is the same. And that witness is not separate from life. It is not observing from outside. It is the very heart of experience itself, knowing each moment from within, shining through every perception, breathing through every form. Let yourself rest in that now. Not by effort, not by force, but by releasing the idea that you have to do anything at all. There is nowhere to go. There is nothing to reach. There is only this breath, this presence, this open, vast awareness that is already holding you, that has always held you. You can trust it. You can let it carry you into sleep, not as something you enter, but as something you melt into, dissolve into, return to. You are not falling away. You are falling back into what is true, into the peace that does not come and go, into the silence that is not empty, into the awareness that never sleeps, that never leaves, that never breaks. Just rest here as you are. The mirror has no opinion. It reflects what is placed before it, without resistance, without commentary, without distortion. It does not choose what to show and what to ignore, does not prefer beauty to imperfection, does not turn away from shadows or cling to light. Whatever appears, appears. Whatever passes, passes. And the mirror remains still unchanged open. This is the nature of true awareness. It sees, it allows, it holds everything without becoming anything. It does not identify, it does not react, it does not separate itself from the reflection, yet it is never absorbed by it. The mirror is the perfect symbol of the awakened mind, of the deep and quiet mindfulness that does not grasp, does not judge, does not edit what it sees to make itself more comfortable. And just like the mirror, you have the capacity to be that space, clear, open, untouched by what comes and goes. You do not need to react to everything the mind shows you. You do not need to respond to every sensation as if it is urgent. You can rest, simply rest, in the space of seeing, of noticing, of being the witness rather than the one entangled in every movement. Tonight, this is your practice not to control what appears, but to sit like a mirror, quiet and still reflecting the world without holding on to any of it. Thoughts may continue to arise. They may tell stories about the day, or about tomorrow, or about something you wish you could forget. They may offer judgments. Try to name every feeling. Try to measure how well you are doing. They may tell you that you're not relaxed enough, not peaceful enough, not good enough. But all of these thoughts, no matter how convincing, are just reflections, just flickers in the mirror. They do not say anything true about who you are. They do not define you. You do not need to believe them. You do not need to fight them either. You can simply let them appear. Let them float across the space of your mind, like clouds crossing the sky, and let them fade. They are temporary. They are insubstantial. The mirror is not scratched by what it reflects. The awareness is not stained by what passes through it. No thought can harm the space that sees it. No emotion can break the silence in which it arises. The mirror does not resist the storm. It simply shows it and waits. And when the storm passes, the mirror is still there, calm, quiet, unshaken. This is not a skill you have to force. It is your natural state. The mind may be noisy. The body may carry tension. But awareness itself is always clear, always present, always available. You are not trying to make it do something. You are simply remembering what it feels like to rest in that space. Right now, feel your breath as a reflection, not something to control or judge, but something to watch gently. It rises. It falls. You do not need to shape it. You do not need to hold it still. You can observe it with the same neutrality that the mirror offers. Just breathing. Just watching. Just allowing. And the more you allow, the more everything softens. The body becomes heavier. The muscles unwind. The thoughts lose their sharpness. You are not fighting to sleep. You are simply removing the layers of effort that cover rest. And what remains is simplicity, stillness, awareness. Sometimes the mirror reflects joy, sometimes pain, sometimes nothing at all. But it never tries to hold the good and push away the bad. It does not prefer. It does not resist. And in that equanimity, there is a deep and lasting peace. Not the peace of always feeling good, but the peace of no longer needing things to feel a certain way. That peace is available to you now. Not after the thoughts stop, not after the body is perfectly still, but in this very moment. Whatever is here can be here. Whatever you feel can be felt. You are not doing anything wrong. You are not behind. You are not failing to rest. You are already resting when you stop fighting what is. The mirror is also silent. It does not explain or justify. It does not narrate. And in your silence, you return to the same clarity. Let the thoughts come without needing to comment on them. Let the emotions arise without needing to narrate them. You do not need to talk yourself into peace. Peace is already here when the talking pauses, when the explanations fall away, when the inner voice grows quiet, not because you forced it to be quiet, but because you no longer feed it. The mirror reflects in silence, and that silence is wisdom. That silence is truth. That silence is the doorway into deep rest. You may feel moments of resistance. The mind may protest. The body may twitch. The heart may flare up with a memory or a fear. This is normal. This is part of the process. Do not believe that resistance means failure. It is just one more reflection, one more flicker. It will pass. You do not need to do anything with it. Just stay with the awareness. Stay with the breath. Stay with the stillness that watches without judgment. You are not here to fix yourself. You are here to see yourself clearly without distortion. And when you do, you begin to recognize that what you are is not the story you've believed. not the personality you defend, not the history you carry like a weight. What you are is space. What you are is awareness. What you are is the mirror, quiet, kind, clear. Feel how the body responds to that knowing. The breath deepens even slightly. The jaw releases. The mind, though it may still think, begins to drift like a feather in water. You are not pushing sleep. You are becoming space for sleep to enter. You are not demanding stillness. You are dissolving the conditions that prevent stillness from being felt. In this letting go, there is healing. In this soft seeing, there is clarity. And that clarity does not require effort. It requires rest. It requires presence. It requires nothing but this moment and your willingness to allow this moment to be enough. Let the thoughts blur. Let the body grow heavy. Let the mirror reflect the night as it is without needing it to end, without needing it to begin. Just breath. Just presence. Just awareness, sitting quietly doing nothing. Wanting nothing. Being everything. You are not the reflection. You are the space that reflects it. You are not the content. You are the consciousness that holds it. You are not the changing. You are the changeless. You are not the movement. You are the stillness beneath all movement. And in this stillness, you are safe. You are home. Letting life flow through you is not about surrendering your will or giving up your presence, but about recognizing that the more tightly you hold, the more tension builds within your body, the more resistance gathers like pressure behind the eyes. The more exhaustion becomes the natural consequence of trying to dam a river that was never meant to be stopped. Life is movement. Thoughts arise and fade. Emotions swell and pass. Breath flows in and out. The body changes, relationships shift. Circumstances evolve, and trying to hold any of it in place. Trying to protect yourself from the current by building walls of control and habits of fear only leads to disconnection from the very source of your peace. The truth is, when you let go of trying to shape each moment into what you expect, when you stop demanding that life fit into the narrow container of your plans, you discover something astonishing. The river does not drown you when you release your grip, it carries you. The fear that says, if I let go, I will fall apart, is not telling the truth. What actually happens is a softening, a return to rhythm, a reconnection with the natural wisdom of your own being, the rhythm of the world that has always been moving in and through you, even when you forgot how to feel it. As you lie here still and quiet, notice the parts of you that are still trying to hold on. Maybe it's the mind circling around a thought, like a stone in the shoe you can't seem to shake out. Maybe it's the chest clutching a feeling you haven't named. Maybe it's the stomach holding tension you didn't even know was there. Without judgment, without the need to fix anything, just bring your breath into those places. Not to change them, but to notice them, to see them, to let them know they are seen. You are not trying to relax by force. You are allowing relaxation to unfold as a natural response to being accepted. The body does not resist your experience. It resists your resistance. And the moment you stop fighting what is, the body begins to rest. Letting life flow through you means allowing this breath to come fully and to leave fully. It means welcoming each moment as it arrives without gripping it or rushing it or filtering it through endless analysis. It means no longer standing at the gate of your own experience with a checklist and a frown, but opening the doors and sitting quietly as the guests arrive, offering each one a moment of presence, even if they are uncomfortable, even if they are not who you hoped for. The joy comes and you say, "Yes, I see you." The sorrow follows and you say, "Yes, you too may sit here." The confusion, the doubt, the warmth, the stillness, each one moves through you like weather, and you stop trying to hold the sky still. You let it be wide open, free. This is not about becoming passive. It is about becoming intimate with life. When you let things flow through you, you are not abandoning responsibility. You are choosing responsiveness over reactivity. You are meeting the moment as it is, not as a concept, not as a problem, but as a living presence. And in doing so, you free up energy that was trapped in resistance. You no longer need to brace for every feeling, defend against every thought, armor yourself against the changing tide. The wave passes and you float. The wind rises and you bend. The emotion arrives and you breathe. Nothing overwhelms you when you stop standing in its way. Let yourself feel now what it means to be open, not mentally, but physically, energetically. Let your breath move through you without control. Let the sensations move in your body like light touching the surface of a lake. No need to interpret. No need to name. Just allow. Let the stillness expand as you release the effort to direct what happens next. You are not the director of this night. You are the space in which it unfolds. And when you become that space, everything finds its place. The discomfort softens. The mind slows. The breath becomes round, like the moon rising over a calm sea. You stop trying to fix the experience, and the experience begins to transform, not because you changed it, but because you stopped standing between it and its natural path. There is wisdom in the body that you do not need to understand. There is intelligence in your breath that knows exactly how to move. There is a rhythm in your heart that does not need your permission to keep going. Letting life flow through you means trusting these things, trusting the process of unfolding, trusting the seasons of your own growth, trusting that healing comes in waves, not in straight lines, trusting that sometimes what you think is a setback is actually a moment of deep rest before a new opening. Trusting that you don't need to have all the answers to be whole. You don't even need to be at peace to begin resting. You simply need to stop holding yourself apart from what's already happening. This breath is enough. This moment is enough. You are enough. Feel how the body hears those words, not as ideas, but as instructions, as permission, as invitation. Every part of you that was holding tight begins to soften, not because you commanded it, but because you stopped pulling. You stopped tightening. You stopped resisting what already is. And in that release, the current begins to carry you not away from yourself, but deeper into the center of your own stillness. Even now, the mind may try to return, try to solve, try to control. Let it do what it does. You are not the mind. You are the space in which the mind moves. And that space is wider than thought, deeper than emotion, more still than any story. Return to it with every breath. Return to it with every letting go. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are flowing. And that is enough. There is nowhere to arrive. The belief that peace, rest, contentment, or wholeness exists somewhere ahead of you, waiting in a distant and perfected version of your life, is the very illusion that keeps the mind restless and the heart burdened. You have been taught in countless ways that happiness is a goal, that your worth is something to be achieved, that your freedom will come only after you reach some invisible milestone, resolve every inner doubt, or finally become the person you believe you're supposed to be. But this chase, endless and subtle, is what prevents you from sinking into the truth that already surrounds you. The truth that you are not a project in progress or a problem waiting to be solved. You are not on a conveyor belt leading to some higher version of yourself. You are here. You are whole. You are breathing in a body that belongs entirely to this moment. And this moment is not a stepping stone. It is not a means to an end. It is the end. When the Buddha taught about the cessation of suffering, he did not say that we must run faster, work harder, or transcend our humanness. He taught that we must wake up to the present, to the reality that everything we're looking for already exists within the unfolding now, waiting patiently beneath the noise of our seeking. You have nothing to prove tonight. There is nothing more to get to. This breath, this body, this silence is the destination. As you lie still, feel the subtle effort that may remain the part of you that still wants to shift, to figure something out, to prepare for the next moment. That subtle leaning forward, that mental reaching, is the habit of arriving, of waiting for something better, just beyond this inhale. Bring your attention there, not to fix it, but to notice it with tenderness, to watch it dissolve in the light of awareness. The moment you stop trying to arrive, you begin to feel that you've been held all along, that you've never actually left home, only turned your attention elsewhere. The present is not a tool to get you somewhere. It is already complete. It does not need to be made better. It does not need to be earned. Your only task is to allow it to receive it, to rest into it as it is. This moment asks nothing from you. It does not need you to be enlightened, calm, or certain. It does not require that you've resolved every fear, forgiven every hurt, or silenced every voice in your head. It only asks for your presence, not as effort, but as willingness. Willingness to be here, to feel the breath, to notice the weight of your body, to recognize that you do not need to improve what already is. You are not falling behind. You are not waiting for your life to start. You are not missing the point. You are the point. This breath is the point. There is no other moment that will complete you more than this one, and the peace you long for will not come through more becoming. It comes through letting go of the idea that you are incomplete. Even sleep is not something you must reach. It arrives when you stop moving toward it. It comes when you no longer try to earn it. And so it is with all things born of stillness. You cannot conquer them. You can only allow them. They are not destinations. They are invitations to return, to soften, to settle into the truth that you already are what you've been searching for. When the mind tells you that you're not there yet, that there's something more to do, more to fix, more to become, smile at that voice. Thank it for its service and return to the body. Return to the breath. Return to the space that has no edge, no need, no destination. Feel how your body responds when it no longer has to prepare for the next thing. Feel how your breath deepens when it is not a bridge to somewhere else, but a resting place in itself. You are not separate from peace. You are not apart from stillness. You are not moving toward love. You are made of it. When you stop chasing what is already here, you begin to feel it. You begin to notice the quiet miracles embedded in the ordinary, the way your breath moves without your command, the way your body rests into the bed, the way silence holds everything without question. These are not signs of absence. They are signs of arrival. Not the kind of arrival that makes a sound that marks a point on the map. The kind that slips in quietly when the struggle ends, when the reaching softens, when the noise finally yields to space. There is nowhere to arrive because the path is not linear. It is not a line leading from pain to perfection. It is a spiral, a rhythm, a dance between forgetting and remembering. And even in your forgetting, you are not lost. You are simply human, returning again and again to the truth that nothing needs to be added to this moment for it to be holy. That the breath you are taking right now is the same breath that has moved through sages and children, through animals and forests, through stars and oceans. There is no breath that is not enough. There is no moment that is not sacred. There is no version of you that is more worthy than the one lying here now, beneath the weight of the blanket, inside the rhythm of your own heartbeat, floating gently in the sea of awareness. Release the need to achieve even peace. Peace does not come through effort. It comes through non-resistance, through the surrender of needing anything more than what is already here, through the radical act of allowing this moment to be enough. You do not need to push deeper. You do not need to feel more. You do not need to understand. Awareness is not an achievement. It is the space that holds all achievements and all failures alike. The you that thinks it must arrive is the same you that is already home. Let them sit together. Let the striving soften in the arms of being. Let the breath carry you without destination. Sleep is not the final goal. It is not the trophy. It is just one more way of being held by the present. Whether it comes soon or later, it is not what matters. What matters is this: the breath that is already here, the body that is already resting, the awareness that is already awake. You are not preparing for peace. You are living it, even now, even here, especially here. In the absence of striving, in the stillness between movements, in the silence that remains when the mind finally stops asking, "What next?" You are not late. You are not unfinished. You are not waiting for your real life to begin. This is it, this moment, this breath, this being. It is not a step toward anything. It is the whole path. When you realize this, something inside you exhales. Something unclenches. Something drops the armor it didn't know it was carrying. And in that dropping, there is rest. Not because the world has changed, but because you are no longer running from it. You are no longer running from yourself. You can stop now. You can let go of the finish line. You can stop rehearsing your healing. You can stop waiting for some perfect version of you to appear. You are not a project. You are a presence. You are not in the middle of a journey toward enoughness. You are enough now. Not someday, now. Not after you fall asleep, now. In this breath, in this body, in this quiet. There is nowhere to arrive. You have already arrived. You were never separate. The illusion of separation is the first wound. The quiet belief that you are alone inside your body, cut off from the world, outside, exiled into a private mind, and left to navigate the mystery of life as an isolated self. This belief lives deep in the folds of identity and gives rise to a sense of disconnection that echoes in your thoughts, tightens your chest, and whispers beneath every effort to belong. But the truth, the simple, silent, enduring truth, is that separation was never real. Like a dream that seems vivid until you wake. The belief in separateness begins to dissolve when you return to the body, to the breath, to the present moment, and begin to feel again the quiet threads that connect everything to everything. The air you breathe right now was breathed by others before you, by trees, by oceans, by the stars as they were born and died in silence. The light that touches your skin tonight came from a sun. You did not create a sun that does not ask you to earn its warmth. The gravity that holds you is the same gravity that holds the mountains, the rivers, the bones of all creatures. You were never apart from the world. You were never cast out. You only forgot. And now here, in the quiet of this breath, you remember. Not with your mind, but with your being. You remember what it feels like to rest in the great field of presence that holds everything equally, without favor, without distance, without boundary. Feel how the bed supports you without needing anything in return. Feel how the air enters your lungs without negotiation. Feel how the earth cradles your body without measuring your worth. There is a gentleness here, a deep benevolence that exists beneath all the tension and striving waiting to be felt. You are not outside of it. You are not other than it. You are made of it. You are not a drop in the ocean wondering how to get home. You are the ocean forgetting your own depth. The thoughts that tell you otherwise are not bad. They are just old echoes, stories passed down through fear, through habit, through a culture that has forgotten its roots. But those stories do not define you. They do not limit you. You can notice them, bow to them, and let them pass like birds across a sky that is too vast to hold them. There is a kind of intimacy available to you now that requires no words, no understanding, no technique. Just being here, fully here, is enough. To feel your breath as part of the rhythm of all life. To feel your skin not as a wall, but as a bridge. To sense that the awareness inside you is not contained, not locked behind the eyes, but everywhere touching the world and being touched by it in return. When you soften into this knowing, everything changes without anything needing to change. The sense of urgency dissolves. need to be someone to prove something to arrive somewhere all begin to fall away. You begin to see that you are not on the edge of life looking in. You are the very heart of it. Your existence is not a mistake. Your body is not separate from the planet that birthed it. Your thoughts do not exist in isolation. They arise from a vast web of conditions: language, memory, sensation, environment, ancestry. Every part of you is in relationship, woven into the fabric of the now. Even your pain, your sadness, your anxiety. These too are not signs of separation. They are signs of sensitivity, signs that you are connected deeply to the world around you and to the world within. The ache you feel when someone suffers is the proof that you are not apart. The longing you feel when you look at the stars is the proof that something inside you remembers the stars. You do not need to overcome this tenderness. You do not need to toughen your way into peace. You need only to allow yourself to be held by the truth that you were never outside of anything. That the very awareness noticing your discomfort is the same awareness in all beings, in all forms. It is not personal. It is not local. It is universal. It is timeless. It is home. Let your breath be the bridge now. Inhale gently and feel that you are not pulling something into you, but being breathed by the same force that moves the trees. Exhale and feel that you are not giving something away, but completing a cycle that has no beginning and no end. Each breath is an act of reunion. Each breath is a return. And in that return, the sense of being separate dissolves. Not because you think it should, but because you are remembering the felt sense of belonging that exists beneath thought. This belonging does not need to be earned. It cannot be broken. It is not a transaction. It is a given. A truth so fundamental that even forgetting it does not undo it. As you rest here, notice how everything that arises, thoughts, sensations, emotions, arises in the same space. There is no private room where your experience lives apart from the world. There is only this vast openness, this field of presence that welcomes everything and rejects nothing. You are not merely connected to life, you are life. Life is not happening to you. Life is happening as you. This moment is not separate from you. This moment is you. And in this, there is no loneliness. In this, there is no exile. Only the quiet recognition that you are not a guest in this world. You are the house. Even sleep, even dreams, even silence itself, these are not departures. They are modes of connection, movements within the great unfolding. You are not falling into sleep as an escape from the world. You are dissolving into the same space that births all things. And in that space, you are not alone. The stars are there. The ancestors are there. The future and the past are folded into the present like threads in a single fabric. You do not need to understand this with your mind. You do not need to articulate it. You only need to feel it, to rest into it, to let it hold you. If the mind returns with thoughts of separation, with memories, with worries, with feelings of distance, let them come. Let them pass. Let them be seen by the awareness that never left, that never blinked. that has been watching your entire life unfold without preference. This awareness is your true nature. It is not alone. It cannot be. It is the same light in all beings, the same stillness in all places, the same breath in all lungs. And tonight, it is holding you, not as something outside of you, but as you. You were never separate. You are already home. The end of doing, the start of being, is not marked by some external achievement, not marked by a checklist completed, or a goal crossed off, or a perfect day lived. It is marked by the subtle, quiet turning of your attention away from what must be done toward what already is. Doing has its place. It is how the world moves, how things get built, how meals get made, and bridges formed, and voices heard. But doing without pause becomes a cycle of becoming that never ends, a hamster wheel of effort, always chasing a future version of yourself that never arrives. Being, on the other hand, is stillness. It is the fullness that comes not from getting, but from stopping. Not from completing, but from inhabiting. When you are caught in doing, you are often lost in time, projecting yourself into the future where things are imagined better, or into the past where regrets or memories cling to the present like shadows. But when you return to being, you return to now. And in that return, you find that nothing more is needed because everything essential was already here. Doing is movement. Being is depth. Doing is important. Being is sacred. And tonight, as your breath slows and your muscles begin to melt into the bed beneath you, you are being invited to rest in that sacred space where nothing needs to be done, where your worth is not measured by your output, and where your entire existence is allowed to simply be. Feel now the difference between the mind that evaluates and the awareness that observes. The evaluating mind asks, have I done enough? Am I resting well? Is this meditation working? Is my sleep deep enough? These questions, though they seem helpful, pull you away from presence. They activate the doing self, the part of you that sees even rest as a task, even stillness as a performance to perfect. But awareness is different. Awareness watches. Awareness holds. Awareness does not comment. Awareness does not demand. When you shift into this space, you are no longer trying to be present. You are simply noticing that presence is already here, like a quiet field beneath the activity of thought, like a vast sky behind the clouds of emotion. You do not have to manufacture this presence. It is not a product of discipline. It is your natural state rediscovered the moment you stop doing. You might notice your body still trying to hold itself together, muscles slightly engaged, back subtly lifted, jaw gently clenched. These are the small efforts of doing that remain even in rest. But tonight, you can allow those places to release, not by forcing them, not by commanding stillness, but by inviting them into the space of being. Let your jaw know it does not need to bite down on silence. Let your hands know they do not need to grasp anything. Let your chest know it does not need to brace. Let gravity do the holding now. Let the earth carry you. Let the bed become a cradle. You are not supporting yourself anymore. You are letting yourself be supported. This is the beginning of being. It's not about non-action. It's about non-striving. It's about relinquishing the subtle tension that says, I must be different from what I am. Being is not passive. It is alive, rich, vast. It includes everything without needing to fix it. Being holds your thoughts, your discomfort, your breath, your stillness, your movement. And it says, yes, this too belongs. You are allowed to feel this. You are allowed to lie here without performance. You are allowed to not know. You are allowed to simply exist. Notice how the breath changes when you stop managing it, how it begins to deepen or soften or pause entirely without you deciding. The breath knows how to return to its own rhythm when you stop interfering. And the same is true for your entire being. Your nervous system knows how to regulate. Your body knows how to rest. Your heart knows how to soften. All of these things happen when you step back, when you stop doing rest and begin to be rest. You are not a machine that requires precise input to function properly. You are a living field of intelligence, a dynamic mystery, and your wholeness is not created through perfection, but revealed through presence. In Zen, there is a phrase, just sit. It means you are not sitting in order to achieve something. You are not meditating to get somewhere. You are just sitting, completely, totally, without expectation. That is the beginning of true being. And while you are not sitting now, the same invitation applies. Just lie here. Just breathe. Just be. Not in order to sleep. Not in order to accomplish calm. Just to return. Just to rest in your own enoughness. The mind may protest. The habits of doing are strong. But you are stronger, not through effort, but through presence. The more you feel into this moment, the more you release the belief that there's somewhere better to be, something better to feel, someone better to become. You do not need to think your way into being. You do not need to fix your experience. You are not broken. You are simply remembering. And that remembering is a falling away of tension, of resistance, of identity. It is a falling back into what has always been waiting beneath the noise. You are not what you do. You are not the thoughts that try to organize your life. You are the presence that sees. You are the space that holds. You are the silence that welcomes. Feel now how the breath moves through your entire body, not just the lungs, but the legs, the arms, the spine. Let every cell be touched by breath. Let the space between your cells be saturated with ease. Let yourself dissolve into the bed. Let yourself become part of the quiet. There is no destination. There is no measure of success. You are not making progress, you are making space. And in that space, you are becoming real again. Not the version of you shaped by tasks and roles, but the one who exists beneath all names. This being is not limited by age, by history, by wounds. It does not shrink from difficulty. It is not threatened by imperfection. It simply is. Like the moon reflected in water, like the wind moving through the leaves, like the breath that comes and goes. And as you rest in this awareness, the sense of doing fades, not by force, but by lack of interest. The game no longer holds you. The striving no longer compels you. What remains is enough. What remains is whole. You may drift. You may sleep. You may wake again and again. Let it all happen. Being includes all of it. There is no correct way to rest, not built, not constructed, but revealed. You are not here to finish anything. You are not here to achieve stillness. You are here to return. And with each breath that return becomes easier, with each exhale, something else falls away. The story, the striving, the identity, until only breath remains, until only presence remains, until there is nothing left to do and nowhere else to go, and nothing else to be except what you already are.